Hi, I'm Kyle.
I'm Josh.
This is Two Guys, One Car.
Welcome to our car.
Dude, it starts with Two Guys, One Car. That's the name. It should start
It's
with
welcome
the
to our car.
name. No, but it has to start with Two Guys, One Car because that's the name of the thing.
Just get in the back seat.
Right along with us.
We'll kick off.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back to another episode of the 2G1C podcast. Today we have a good friend, Sam Mozaffari, on. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah,
Nice.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too.
I was looking through your like all your stuff on Insta and that, and like Josh has mentioned some things about you, but I was looking through like all that, and then I went onto your website. Like just off the bat, the thing that I love like about everything, and I could see that it was like a bit older. I mean, you haven't done it for a while, but I love your blogs.
Oh, cheers.
They were sick.
I'm so sad I haven't been doing them.
Yeah, how long's it been since you've done like?
Oh, like a year.
Yeah, right. Yeah, why?
There's a reason for that, because like I would probably still be updating it if it wasn't such an effort to make a blog post. Like it's all code.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're doing it raw.
Yeah.
Like you didn't do it through some sort of tool.
Nah.
Oh, damn.
So like if I had done that, which I'm working on now, I'll start posting it.
Wait, so did you code your whole website?
Yeah,
did
my
that
dad
yourself?
and I did it, yeah. He helped me a lot.
That is so sick.
Where did you learn coding? Through like when you wanted to build the website?
Like I've done like HTML and CSS here and there at school and like just on YouTube. Yeah, he helped me with like hosting the site and like the JavaScripty parts. Yeah. I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, dude, there's so many tools nowadays that like you can just build a website off someone else's hard work, like just using a tool to build a website. So
And like it's obviously made me not post because it's such an effort. So yeah.
Oh, definitely. No, it's sick. I loved the. It was so like chill. It was more. Well, because I was two things. I was thinking about you haven't posted in a while, so I was curious as to why. And then also I loved the fact that it was sort of like a half journal, half blog. Like it was really journal-like.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about how like a lot of people do actually know where the northern beaches are, especially in Australia. Like they've heard of it, especially when you mentioned Manly and stuff. And I was thinking like your insight into, because like, I can obviously tell you surf and stuff. So your insight
What gives
into
you
that.
A lot of my neck.
And yeah, like for people who don't live here, like a lot of people do know where this is. So I feel like that would do a lot for people who want to come see the beaches or whatnot. They would actually love seeing, just like even some of the blogs were just like a day of you like going out for a surf and just like talking about different things, bits and pieces of photos, like really painted a picture. And I was like, that's so sick. Yeah. So you feel like you would want to get back into it?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. If it was just a bit more convenient.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you heard of Notion?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's like the best note-taking app ever. Like it's so powerful. You can combine it with so many other applications, and like you can host websites through Notion now. So it's basically just like you make a page, write something, and then you'll post that as a blog post. It'll do it automatically for you.
Oh, that's
So I'm probably gonna do it through there.
Have you since you stopped doing the blogs, did you stop like writing altogether though? Or do you still write and have journals kept and
No, I
sort
don't
of blog
actually.
posts made up?
Nah, I don't.
So was that what started the blog post? You were like, oh, I want to put it out, or had you been journaling and then you're like, oh, I want to take this to the internet?
No, I was posting things on Instagram and being like, oh, this is kind of like meaningless, because I don't know, if one day people stop using Instagram, like all my stuff's just going to be sort of gone, I guess.
Yeah. Like
I just want something that I could like control almost, I guess.
Yeah, the idea, from what I could tell on your like website, was like that's your like hub for just all the stuff that you do.
Yeah.
Like there's like obviously like a gallery with like photography and stuff, and like the blogs and that. I'm sort of like, obviously photography is a big thing for you.
Yeah.
Like how'd you even get into that?
I don't know. Like I think my dad was always taking photos when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then I guess I started using a camera as well, like filming us scootering. Like I used to be so into scootering. Yeah.
Who are you as well?
No, I wasn't, but
Oh,
I just
yeah.
remembered like you and Liam.
Yeah.
Scooter boys.
Absolutely obsessed. And then I don't know, I think because I kind of sucked, I started gravitating towards filming everyone. Yeah. And then I think my dad started taking photos less, and I started doing it more. So yeah, I'd film the scootering, like take photos of everyone, and then it just sort of transitioned to like, I don't know, wanting to take photos when we went in the bush, or like, then we started skating, making more skate videos.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I started surfing, and then like taking photos of waves and beach and stuff like that.
Interesting. So it was always just wherever your hobbies were, the photography came with it. The camera was almost attached to you.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it was always almost like a afterthought to the hobby, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find the hobby and then
Yeah, pretty much.
take the photos. And what do you like about photography?
I guess just being able to like document what I'm doing. Yeah, like trying to find like unique angles of things, or just like even like looking at other people's photos of places. You're like, oh, I want to try something different, or like I want to get a photo like that. Just yeah, it's inspiring seeing other people's stuff.
Yeah, who do you draw from?
I reckon a lot of local photographers inspire me, like just my mates from the beach and stuff. Yeah, or like I don't know, obviously like Chris Burkhardt and those kind of guys, like they're really inspiring. Just the kind of way they live their lives. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
And do you want to do anything with photography in terms of monetizing, or do you think it'll always just be a form of expression that you do for?
I mean, yeah, I would love to, but I mean, I never like set out to be a professional photographer or anything. Like, not in the corporate sort of sense. Like, it would be cool to if I could like make money from a blog or something like that, and make like a travel guide. Like, I would enjoy doing something like that. Yeah.
Obviously, because that would be perfect. It would be blending, like, you're obviously living out your hobbies, but then also getting paid for the afterthought being the photography. Like, that'd be absolutely perfect. Yeah. So what do you do for work at the moment?
So I'm working at like an industrial design company.
Okay, yeah.
Doing like just basic industrial design stuff, like 3D modeling, like some graphic design,
Sick.
manufacturing, electrical stuff, sort of. Yeah.
Dope.
Yeah, a company called Zeta.
And that's like full-time work?
Nah, so it's like I have to go to uni 4 days a week.
Damn. Like, go in?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's rough.
Where do you go?
Yeah, UTS. Yeah.
Dude, that is a big chunk of your week taken up.
Yeah, I don't have much time. So I have Tuesday off completely for work, and then I go to work after uni on Wednesday and Thursday, and then that's it.
That's
So it's
big.
probably 2 full days. It's not that much.
Yeah.
But it feels like a lot, because like
Well, the hours are so big.
the hours that...
As in, not the work hours, but your day.
Yeah,
It's like you leave to uni, finish uni, go to work, get home.
And like, even if you're working half a day, driving there and back like sort of accumulates. Even though it's not that far away, it's in Mona Vale. But
Well, then you also go to uni. You know, like you go into uni.
Do you public transport it?
yeah,
And what do you do with your time? Like, do you use it productively, do you find?
on public transport, no, not really. Like,
That would be, like, for me, like going from not doing that to then if I had to do that, I reckon now, like knowing what I know being a bit older, it's just be like, I would have to do something on that.
I
That's so
sometimes
much
do.
time, hey?
Yeah, like sometimes I draw on the bus a lot, and then
Okay.
I find like people sitting next to me just like ruins my headspace for something.
Interesting.
Like, I don't know why,
Yeah.
especially if you're drawing and like it's bumpy on the bus, or like, I don't know, I find I'm not drawing on the bus anymore because it doesn't work. But like, I always do research, like, because I've been doing this wind turbine project, and I'll just watch YouTube videos.
Yeah, explain that for us.
Yeah, okay. So basically, my idea behind it was like, people have done it before, but the horizontal wind turbines you see, they sort of make sense for areas that are like out of the cities and really high wind areas, and you'd know, like, they're so expensive to make and maintain, and they're really high up. So like where it's really windy, they're set up. But like, basically, if something goes wrong with them, because it's so expensive to maintain, like, it doesn't make sense for poor countries to make them. Like, they don't have the funding or anything like that. So like, because they need to be angled for the wind direction, there's like all these other electronics that make them need to pivot and like analyze where the wind's coming from. So like, the vertical wind turbines, for example, like, this is my access to my phone, it's spinning like that instead of like that. Okay. So any wind direction will make this turbine spin. Yeah, and then it's so simple, the mechanism of like electricity generation. Like, all these people in India and like Thailand and poor countries and stuff, they're using like car alternators as the generator.
Wow. Damn.
So like, recycling alternators from cars, and then just a belt from the spinning axis of this turbine, and then you can easily just convert the AC to DC power.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is something you're working on at the moment.
Yeah,
in terms of like,
I kind of have to only do it on a bit of a service level because I've only got 5 or 6 weeks left. But like, something I definitely would want to pursue.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, I'm not an engineer,
Okay.
so I kind of have to teach all that stuff to myself, and like,
Yes.
I'm not going to be as good as the engineers.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of have to focus more on, like, say, the manufacturing methods of the turbine to make it like cost effective, or like designing something that people in poor countries could make. Yeah, like, I was thinking of making like ship sail sort of material.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you feel that that's something you want to try and take overseas to these poorer countries?
Yeah, for sure. Like, it feels a lot of these uni projects, like, you get to the end and then you just like forget about it.
Which is crazy because some ideas that people think of are insane. Like there should be some incentive to take that further, I reckon, from universities. Obviously there's so much money involved. There should be some like level of like, okay, this is a great idea, we'll back you to keep going with it or something like that.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, there is sometimes, like, my friend who's doing he just did like a bee project because you know, like, bee populations are dwindling. He did like a sort of thing where, I probably won't describe it for him because I don't know it too well, but like, apparently, like, in Australia, it's really hard to get honey and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think the bees pollinate the tree. I don't know how it works. I know you just have to drive a lot between different areas to get them pollinating. Whereas in other countries, it's quite easy. So they're driving a lot, and they're like, I think he's made some sort of system that can like detect when they're making honey. Or
Wow. Whoa.
yeah.
Wait, so
So you got a grant for that.
are you saying...
Wait, so like I might sound stupid, but are you saying like you need to move the bees?
Yeah, you need to
Doing the
move the
pollinate.
bees.
You actually need to like transport the bees yourself,
Yeah.
like most people. Whoa, that's so strange. Yeah, and like I guess it depends what areas you're in, but
Yeah, it would.
yeah.
And how difficult was it for him to get that grant?
I actually haven't asked him that, but it seems like because he has like a farming background, so I knew what he was doing, and it probably wouldn't have been too hard. He
Yeah,
had good
right.
research backing it, and because he was saying someone on his farm who like lives there, I think they're driving to like Western Victoria every week from New South Wales. So like,
Wow,
Whoa.
Long hours of driving. Holy shit.
yeah,
What the
that's
hell?
not so that there has to be a better way.
Yeah.
What was what kind of made you aware of the problem? And then, because I feel like everything you kind of do is you're trying to solve these large problems in life. What makes you aware of the problem? Because so many of us are just unaware of it.
I was like, do you guys remember seeing all the news articles of like Pakistan and the blackouts and stuff? Kind of like a couple months ago.
Loosely,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do I feel like it was more recent? There was something in Pakistan.
there's floods.
Flood stuff.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
floods in
thinking of.
Pakistan
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah, I just remember seeing that in the news, and it sort of, my dad and I were talking about it. It's like stuck one day. Like, they don't have enough power to supplement their usage, and like it's so windy there. Like the Middle East, the average wind speed was like 15 k's an hour,
Okay.
so which is good for these
Yeah.
kind of turbines.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, yeah, like, why can't they just like decentralize themselves from the grid? There's nothing
Yeah.
stopping them, and it's cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
So funny. Isn't it crazy how people can think of ideas like this? And you're like, how has that never been done?
Yeah, like,
Because
it's weird.
It's probably been, you would probably think this every time you work on this or put thought to it. You're like, how has no one ever done this before?
Yeah, like people have done them for sure, but I've never seen one before.
That's what I'm saying. So where
Heaps of them.
it's like,
Has everyone gotten to the same point and been like, oh, this can't be done, or
That's what I was
it's going to
gonna
be
say.
too hard? Or have people just had the idea but never carried it out?
Yeah, like, I've seen a lot of these projects for vertical axis wind turbines, and then they were like, they won't get funding, or they'll just die. They'll stop posting on Instagram. Like, makes you
That's-
like kind of,
that's weird. Yeah, that is, no, but like why? You know what I mean? Like why would they not, and if you're saying there's been a few, why do they not get backed if you're saying it's clear that you can prove that this is going to work, like it's cost effective, it's efficient, it's
Yeah.
like the ability to construct it is going to be okay.
I think they're trying to do too much, probably.
Okay.
And like,
Oh, it's too advanced. Like you're saying it can just be literally as simple as, like it can be more simple.
yeah, like something is better than nothing. Like, you can make like a little, like a hand crank. Have you seen those things where you like crank and it creates power?
Yeah, like a light or something.
Like, you just need to take that and basically convert a turbine going onto it, and that can like charge someone's phone or turn a light on. So that's like as basic as it needs to be.
Yeah. There was a documentary, or a movie, sorry, called The Boy Who Harnessed Wind.
Yeah, you're telling me about that. I still haven't watched it.
Dude, it's a great film.
Yeah.
I forget which country it was, somewhere in Africa. And basically there was like a massive drought, and they have a water well, but they didn't have a pump or anything to bring water up. And in the movie, like the son is really smart, makes this wind turbine, which powers a water pump, which brings them water. But I looked up the actual story, and what it was they had no electricity, and he made like the wind turbine to power electricity for his house and like surrounding houses. And it's such a simple thing. Like they were just using scrapyard supplies that they had around, like really dodgy things. But as you said, it doesn't need to be that. Like,
It doesn't need to be flashy or
it can just
as long as it works.
Yeah.
So what stage of that like design are you in at the moment? Like along the journey of, say there's the inception of the idea and then it actually like being carried out and there, like where are you along that timeline?
So like I've made like 2 prototypes and I've got like the turbine creating electricity, but
Sick.
yeah,
great.
like it's very basic for now. Like I think I need to get the electronics working perfectly, because like if you don't have properly functioning like electronics, then all the tests you do later are almost like inaccurate. But then I feel like I've been too focused on just the electronics, and then my dad's like, you got 4 or 5 weeks left and you're not focusing on the turbine element too, like and you get to a point where that's done and like, oh shit, I got 1 week to
You do that.
Yeah.
so I think I need to do it both.
Yeah, okay. And then what would the process be? So you submit it, it works out well. Like, do you approach someone to try and get money, or?
I think I would keep working on it with my own money for a bit, and then post it all over social media and just see how people respond to it first, and then if it seems like it's something that's viable. Because what could be cool is like I might be going to India for 3 weeks for uni. Like if I could somehow just bring one of these with me.
And just pitch it. Like you just never know. 3 weeks is so long. It's like 20 days. Like that would be awesome. Just you have so much opportunity.
And if you're going with uni as well, that's probably the best people to be going with to bring something like that to fruition.
Yeah, and in terms of the connections like that they will have when you're actually there.
I don't know if I'm going yet. I'll probably find out in a few days.
Yeah.
Because I only choose a few people. But
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting.
yeah.
Is it and would you want to partner with an engineer sooner rather than later?
Yeah, definitely.
Like
I still don't know if I like want to
actually,
pursue, but I definitely want to get to work. Like at least for myself. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what other passion projects or problems do you see within the world that you want to help solve?
I feel like surfboards are an interesting one, because like people break them all the time and then they just end up in landfill, and like literally no one has figured out a way to make them not break and then not sacrifice like performance or stuff like that. So yeah, I think a lot about that.
It's interesting because
I've never had these thoughts. It is so wild.
But when you think about that, like that could be a case of, I don't know to the extent, this is just a wild claim, but there could be like inbuilt obsolescence.
like
There is.
Like as in like people, they make them so that they break, so then you buy the next one.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
They do pretty much, because like if you make them to be light, then you're making them to break.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like
Yeah,
if you ride, sorry, you go.
No, you on. I was just going off what you're saying.
Yeah, if you ride like a pros board, the glass is so light that the moment you get on, you get foot impressions in the deck, and like they're just that weak.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at the same time, then that kind of voids my argument, because it's like you need them to be light, obviously.
Yeah, like to a certain level, but
So you're saying that it's like what the solution is, finding the middle ground between light and like indestructibleness.
like say Mick Fanning, I was watching a video of him recently, and he was saying like, oh, I can't ride a board more than 2.2 kilos, it just messes with me. And like I weighed my board and it was like almost 2.7, 2.8 kilos, and it seems fine to me.
Yeah.
So for most people it doesn't matter
Yeah.
to a certain
Just the top tier. Yeah, so if you could figure out that for like the general population of surfers who aren't really going to notice the weight of the board, and then maybe it catches traction, the pros eventually use it. But I feel like...
Well, that's your market there, as in like the general board
Yeah,
user.
100%. Yeah, it's interesting though, because we are in such a throwaway society. I was talking to someone the other day about a part on their car, and it's just cheaper, more efficient to throw that out and get a new one.
What was it?
I think it was a radio we were talking about. Like it's just going to be cheaper and more efficient to throw that in the bin, get a new one. And it's wild how that is just our normal reaction. It's like, oh, throw it out, get a new one. Like most of my being a mechanic, a lot of it is just R&R, like remove and replace.
Yeah, it sucks.
Which is wild, because like spend a bit of time, get some parts that are cheaper and smaller and like have less impact on the environment, you could fix it. But yeah, we just don't live in that world today, which is
the way everything's set
unfortunate.
up.
But it's funny, because you have all of us kind of combat that, and at a time I think most of our opinions would settle for the side of like, oh well, if it could be fixed, wouldn't we do that? Because it's just going to be better for everyone, like better for the environment, etc. And I think most of us align with that, but it's just the big corporates that aren't going to make the money off that, so we just don't do it.
Definitely.
Yeah, or like it takes like someone like you or me just to think of something and try and make a change, I guess. Or
Which is beautiful, and it's cool that you have that mind. Like clearly, you have an ability to just look at problems in the world and be like, oh, I want to solve that.
I could solve that. Yeah, that's so sick.
Yeah. What we were talking about seaweed a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Like, what's your? I don't know. Give us a rundown of seaweed and.
Oh yeah, I love seaweed. Like, it's honestly insane how many uses it has. Like,
Wait, this is so random, but eats, go on.
yeah, so, yeah, because Josh and I were talking about it a couple of weeks ago, and he just seemed like his mind was blown.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm about to have my mind blown. Yeah.
because like, for example, like farming for cotton or sugarcane, they need to clear so much land, and like we could use that land for some other things like forestry or just national parks, whatever. We have like all this ocean for aquaculture, and like we don't even do that much aquaculture in Australia. Like I know Tasmania has like seaweed farms and stuff like that. WA, we have some on the south coast too, but like yeah, it's not much. And like, so seaweed has like this thing you can extract from it called agar, and then you can use agar as like gelatin. Yeah, like it's a complete gelatin, like a substitute. You can use it to make like bioplastic.
What the hell?
Yeah, like health foods, jerky. Like it's crazy. These guys in WA are making like seaweed jerky now that like supposedly tastes like meat.
Whoa.
And then the most exciting part of seaweed is this material called alginate.
Okay.
So they like extract it using, like in a lab, like using formaldehyde and stuff like that, which is like a little bit questionable, but they're using it in like medical applications now.
Wow.
So like, I think they'll put it on like the wound of a patient, and it's like antibacterial and like antibiotic properties will make the wounds heal quicker.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So this is a completely separate thing from that's not agar, that's...
No, it's not agar, yeah.
Holy, so and like just multiply that by, the thing is like how much seaweed do you need to get like usage? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
What's the
I
actual
remember
matrix?
finding that out once, but I can't remember anymore. Yeah, I remember it being not too bad, but it is water intensive.
yeah, and look how much we just have so much coastal lining. It's just
So much seaweed.
yeah.
And the potential for alginate makes an even better plastic than agar, because alginate won't mold.
Okay.
Yeah, whereas agar will eventually. So yeah, we did like alginate plastic tests at uni and stuff. It was crazy. Like some people made cosmetic packaging where like you can squeeze it, like the kind of stuff like creams would come out of. We made.
Yeah, you showed me a bottle your friend made or something.
Yeah.
It's like almost like a QP type bottle, but out of seaweed.
Wow.
Yeah, and it won't mold.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then there's like, you could make vacuum sealing sheets for food out of alginate.
To just think about the usage of all of that.
What I was thinking is like, I don't know if anyone's done this, but like, camp meals? Like imagine a camp meal sort of packaging that you could just like bury when you're taking a dump or like out of this stuff. Like surely.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Because alginate just breaks down in the environment.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
That would be great. Dude, and think about how simple, well not obviously it's complex, but in terms of like once you figure that out, like manufacturing that, it's just a bag.
Yeah, like
Literally just a
I
bag.
don't think I would even bother with extracting the alginate. I'd
Okay.
leave that to the people in the labs and stuff.
Yeah.
Unless like you found like a local source and you could get that story. That would be cool.
That would be so nuts though. Because something as simple as that, it's always the thought of like, oh, carry the rubbish in, carry the rubbish out. But what if there just wasn't?
Which sucks.
But also, and also think about the people who don't do that. Like, when you're on a trail and you just see like a freaking camp meal, you're like, shit, like what the hell?
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there was no rubbish. Dude, that's honestly nuts. I literally never have these thoughts.
Yeah, me too. I love it.
Such a consumer.
And it makes me like, once you say this, it makes me like spin off like on these thoughts.
But I feel like a consumer, I haven't done anything about it either.
Yeah.
But I think it's one thing to have the thought though, and now you're clearly passionate about it because you think about it all the time. So at some point there will have to be the action step. And I think as you finish uni, this year?
No, I finished next year, but next year's basically just like working with UTS startups and stuff. So I'll have time to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, so I think as you finish, you're going to kind of be like, oh, I have nothing to do now. Like I have my job, but I need to start doing things. So I think that's when these projects will kind of take place, where you're like, all right, I have the time, I have the desire, so I'm gonna start doing these, which is so cool. Do you think the biggest thing that stops all these projects coming to fruition is like the funding aspect of it?
Not initially, no, because like some of these things aren't that expensive to like get a viable product with. It's just more like motivation and time, and you sort of like, you get into opinions from the internet, or like you do research and you start like losing hope that's going to work, and then you got to like weigh up like, what should I be working on, or like what's going to maybe further my career the quickest, or stuff like that.
Yeah, okay, interesting. So in terms of the windmill project, like how much of your money do you think that will cost you?
Well, currently it's only cost me, it depends what you mean, because like say the 3D printers I'm using for it, I haven't accounted that for the cost because I had them. But if I were to start from scratch with nothing, probably it would have cost like $1,500.
Okay.
But I've only spent about $100 right now.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Just based
wild.
off the resources you have.
Yeah,
Like you
like
do.
I've bought motors, some circuit stuff like that. But I can say it probably cost a couple $100
Yeah, right.
in the next few weeks.
That's way cheaper than what I
Yeah, I mean,
Anticipated. I thought you were going
Yeah.
to say multiple thousand.
No, yeah, that's the point. It's got to be cheap. Like otherwise, I don't want to do it. Not because it'll cost me, because like, what's the point?
Yeah, because your mission, part of the mission you had for it was like, it was meant to be cost efficient.
Like I don't want to replace the whole grid. That's not my plan. Just to like supplement power for people. Yeah.
Which is sick. I love the idea of you saying you want to start small. I really love that. It's like, well, everyone's trying to just go big and be like, let's solve this problem. It's like, well, let's not try and solve it 100%. Let's just solve 10% of the problem.
Yeah, my teacher like told me last week, like, you're trying to do too much, and I kind of like, I was like, oh, I felt
like I wasn't doing enough.
yeah, I felt like I wasn't doing enough, and then he said that, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
that can be dangerous though, because like as much as he's your teacher, maybe he's just he's another human being. Maybe he never outputted much in his life, and him to say that to you, then you take a back step and
Yeah, like
Go with it.
I'm gonna say this because I know he won't see it, but like, he's the worst teacher I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
Yeah, like everyone, you.
I love the confidence.
Dude, you looked at all three cameras and fuck it.
I'm not gonna mention him, so
Yeah.
but like everyone will speak to him and like come out so disheartened, like about their life almost, like
So he's a dream killer.
oh, badly.
Which is nuts because your course is so much about having
Your
this dream
ideas.
and taking it to the world.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he's not necessarily a dream killer, but like everything you'll be working on, he'll just give you like a negative opinion on it, or like why it's bad. But like, you get all this feedback, and almost like you can't make it into something tangible to use. Or like everyone, we came to class on Thursday, and everyone was talking about how rattled they were after the feedback on after a presentation the day before. Yeah,
That's so sad.
I just like, I never get angry, but like,
Yeah, you're so chill.
2 weeks ago, we walked into class and he was like, who's done the work? And then I sort of like put my hand up like that. I regret doing that now because no one puts their hand up. I just didn't want to be like, I haven't done nothing. So he's like, all right, you can go and present. And I'm like, okay, that's like fine. And then we got to this one point where I was like, oh, the extra power from the turbine could like power like a Bitcoin mine, or like to make crypto mining more, I don't know, environmentally friendly. It was just like a little afterthought. And then he just almost lost it. Like, we start arguing about crypto, and then he was saying like, oh, but like cryptocurrencies are like dead now, or like,
Okay, and?
yeah.
It's got nothing to do with.
I didn't want to argue that, and then I ended up arguing with him. Like, he was saying like stable coins aren't stable, and then we argued about my project after that. He was like, you seem like you don't know what you're doing, you don't know who it's directed at. And like, but I do, and I keep saying it. And we argued like crazy for 10 minutes, and everyone in class was just silent, watching or zoning out.
Because you're just like, nah.
I think that's your mindset though that will get you to the places you need to be.
Definitely.
Because like it's one thing to have the idea, it's one thing to be able to execute it, but a part of the execution, you have to be firm in yourself and your thoughts. Where I think a lot of people, including myself, I'd probably just back down and be like, oh, okay, like sorry. But like there has to be a point where you just take that stand
Yeah.
And that's what's going to get you places, because there's going to be people that don't believe in your idea or don't see the vision. But when you push past that, you're going to find those people that do, and it'll like come to the masses. There's two things I want to ask you off that. One was, you said you don't get angry. Do you find that you've always been that way? Or do you think that surfing has helped? Because I find like a lot of people that surf are quite calm people, and my take on it is more that like you're doing something like quite physically challenging and mentally challenging. You're also like being really vulnerable, like with these massive waves.
And then you're also amongst nature.
Exactly, yeah. And then you come back to like the day-to-day small hurdles and stuff, and they just don't seem that big, because like surfing's so much harder than that.
Yeah. I would say no. I definitely agree with what you said, but I think like I was probably not an angry person before surfing either. Like sometimes surfing makes you angry, because like, especially like for example like yesterday, it was so good, but it was so crowded. Like I normally try to avoid crowds, but I had a friend who paddled up into the crowd and they got out and like, that sucked. Like I got 4 waves. I was like annoyed, frustrated. It almost like makes things seem more trivial on land sometimes, because like you get so pissed off in the water and then they get out and you're like, what was the point of doing that? Like it almost makes you like hate surfing sometimes when it's like,
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's purely the people.
yeah, like if I surf alone, I always have a good time.
Interesting. Do you find there's certain times where you can achieve that, like consistently, or?
Surfing alone?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
Like,
So it's most of your surfing is like by yourself.
Yeah, or like with small amounts of people, I'd say. Unless it's like unavoidable to surf in a crowd. Yeah. It's actually like easily doable in Sydney. Like you wouldn't think so.
Well, there's so many beaches. Well, I guess that means there's so many surfers, but
yeah.
Like especially living around here, like if you were to just, I don't think you could do that in Manly or Kelko or Freshwater, probably not.
Yeah. The other question I had for you is, living where we live, like with access to the comfortable lifestyle we have, do you think that liberates you in thought with trying to solve these like problems on a mass scale, where your primary thought isn't, oh, I need to find like a bed tonight, I need to find food and water tonight? Do you find not having those real life concerns liberates your mind to problem solve?
No, I'd say I probably would be more liberated if I like needed to survive.
You think it's the desperation that would solve?
But I don't want to be like that. Like I guess you need to take advantage of your opportunities. Like for example, when a Northern Beaches Council will have like grants and stuff like that, or you have like access to things that they wouldn't, like I don't know, knowledge about, for example, like seaweed or something like that. Like I guess you wouldn't always always have that if you didn't have that like passion for the ocean or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think on that?
Well, I think it's hard for me because I haven't really experienced that life where like I'm trying to find food and trying to find water. But the closest thing I've had to it is, I guess, hiking in a way. And I'm definitely liberated in thought when I'm hiking, but I'm also, I think that would become my priority. And yes, desperation encourages that sense of problem solving and almost forces it, but I think it would only encourage me to solve the immediate problems, which would be like water, food, shelter.
Yeah, too
So
primal.
I would say living this life with all this access and freedom liberates me in thought. It is dangerous because there are a lot of distractions and you have to be intentional with your thoughts.
Yeah.
And that comes to like creating your environment, building what you want to be doing. So I think, yes, it can liberate it more, but it can also diminish it more
it's
just
like,
through distraction.
it's almost like our job as people living in the top like 0.3% is like, we need to like defy all the leisure that's put in our face and all the just like, not freedom or like too much freedom, just almost just the amount of distraction probably that we have. We have so much distraction, so many things that can take us away from like just seeing the resource we have in front of us. And even doing this now, like this pod, it's something that's tangible, yeah, so it feels like we're doing something with the resource we have, like the fact that we're able to buy a car, the fact that we're able to have 3 phones, all that stuff, and like making something out of that. But it's really, really simple. It's like we have so much access to resource. We kind of, I don't know if we're obliged to use it, but I in my head, I would say I'm obliged. Like, as in the fact that we have this, we should definitely be trying to just better
My dad always says that, like, YouTube, when he was a kid, obviously didn't exist. Like, we have no excuses to not be constantly getting better at
That's
things
it,
or
yeah.
learning things.
Yeah, but I think as humans, all we're trying to do is innovate. So I guess just like starting on an individual level, like what can you do with your resource to do better? And yeah, just taking it for what it is. Like, I have X amount of money, I have this education. It's like, you don't deserve that. Like, you haven't been given that. That's not minimum. Like, you are so well off.
Yeah.
We were talking to a guy named Seb, South African guy, on the pod we recorded before this.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the education system in South Africa. And it's just crazy to think that, like, we have like the best education system in the world if you look in terms of like primary, secondary, tertiary education, like across the board. And it's so easy to just say we have the best education system in the world, but to think about that, like what that actually means, that's what I'm almost talking about, is understand like what that means in terms of opportunity and resource. And even if you break it down even smaller, people like living in the country, like in Australia, way more disadvantaged, but they're still so advantaged over other countries. Isn't that just insane? So think about the level of like resource and opportunity we have. It's almost unquantifiable in your head when comparing it to the rest of the world. It's ridiculous. And sometimes there's that burden I get now. Like now, when I think about that sort of stuff, I feel that burden of shit. I need to do well with this. It's like, it's just intention. I think just being intentional with like the resource we've been given and do something with it.
And the dangerous thing there, though, is with the like good resources that go up, also the distractions come up. Like, literally behind us is this water fountain out the front of someone's house. And when you think about that, it's okay, there literally serves no purpose other than aesthetics. And okay, like, not only is that there, but let's think about the whole process that goes into buying one. Okay, well, I'm getting my garden done, so now I'm going to research water fountains. I'm going to jump on Google and spend a couple hours looking at different fountains.
Can't even fathom that.
I'm going to drive to the shops
It
and
doesn't look good.
walk around trying to find a nice water feature, and then I'm going to buy it for X amount of money that it costs, and then the electricity users and the water it uses, like, there's just so many hours spent like to pick out a water feature. And
Well, they're at a point where that's important in their life.
exactly, and that's the dangerous thing with when we have all this freedom and opportunity, we get things like that come our way, and all of us are guilty of just falling into those traps where we just spend so much time doing pointless things.
That's what I'm trying to say.
But you just need to be intentional about, okay, I actually need to use this time to better humanity and better myself.
With your distractions that you're mentioning, that's a daily thing that you're never going to just like realize, oh, that's a distraction, and then remember that forever.
Yeah, you're never going to overcome it.
The new distraction's going to come up. We live, like I said, in the top of the top. Does not get much better than this. It literally doesn't. So there's always going to be a new distraction. There's always going to be something more. So it's like trying to actually just live in a way that defies that, which is hard. I guess that speaks to people who like go to uni or like have a tertiary education. Just the fact that you even got into that is just, you've defied all statistics like worldwide. It's just nuts. And
I feel like at least Australia-wide, it's almost too easy. Like,
it is. No, it is. It's definitely an almost. It 100% is. It's ridiculous. And it is so, people need to understand how important that is. So there's people in other countries who work tirelessly to like even just put themselves in a situation where they get the opportunity to even go for it, like some sort of like degree or whatnot.
And that's what speaks, I guess, out of the desperation when it is such a slim chance, and they, like, what they have is not what they want. They're going to work so hard to get out of that. Whereas for us, it's like what we have is kind of what we want because it's so comfortable. So there's not that real big incentive push to go and get it. And I think like what we were speaking about before with the cars, like me selling my full drive was so liberating to me, and people ask me all the time, do I miss it? And not that I miss it, I was so liberated when it was gone. I felt such a sense of relief. I enjoyed all the trips in it, and I'm grateful for the time, so I don't miss it in that sense. But just having these items, like having these materialistic items that we put so much value into, are just such a heavy weight, it's such a burden, because now we're obligated to care for it, and it really controls our emotions. Like, I don't know, if the water fountain breaks, maybe like they get upset and that ruins their day, or they're just focused on that for so long. But when you can take pride in just owning, I don't know, cheap
crappy things.
Like what Elon Musk is doing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, no.
He lives in a shitbox house.
Yeah, he doesn't own the house, he just rents it, which is so awesome. And it's that same mindset. The more you can like liberate your mind from items, the more time you have. Elon Musk is like the perfect example of that, because he could just be so comfortable. He could just like kick his feet up and live in a resort anywhere he wants around the world. But no, like he's depriving himself of all of these luxuries so that he can like clearly focus on trying to better the world, which is like, it's beautiful. It's beautiful that he has that, and I think there's something we can all take from that.
Well, yeah, I think that answers just like how, and going back to that Seb pod, how he's talking about the Gini coefficient, like, and how that is the highest in it. So it's like a measure of which you can, it's a, like you use a different measure, I forget what it's called. It's like where there's like quintiles, so like 20%, like the bottom 20% in terms of like wealth, and then it goes up by like the top, the 20%, and like, so the bottom 20% of wealth, how much of wealth do they own, and the top 20% how much they earn. So the Gini coefficient measures the distribution of wealth between the bottom 20 and the top 20. So they have the highest in the world, so the biggest gap, like in wealth basically, in terms of the top and the bottom. And this, I guess, obviously they have like a bunch of other problems in South Africa, but that, what we're just speaking about, kind of answers that, you know, like doing things when you have that opportunity and have that wealth and you're born into it. I did nothing to, I don't know about you guys, I did nothing to earn the wealth that I have. Like my parents birthed me into it, you know, so using that opportunity will like shorten that gap, you know, and you're the perfect example of it with the wind turbine thing. It's like you live like in this beautiful place with resource, you go to university and you're actually using that to do something that's going to better a different part of the world, which is so sick.
Why do you want to better the world in that way? Like, what is it about wanting to give power to these people or wanting to help these people's lives?
I think it just feels unfair, like how we live in this comfort and then they don't, because they can't really be focused on all that kind of stuff for now, I guess. Like they've got to be focused on surviving, or maybe they don't have the resources to like try innovate their own lives, I guess. Like I was reading this thing and like it was saying people in like poor countries will like need to rely on coal and stuff first so they can like improve their infrastructure to then even start thinking about renewables. Yeah.
That is...
Whereas we're not at that point.
That's massive. And people, like most people who are arguing for, dude, that's so true. Most people are arguing for renewable energy this, renewable energy that. It's like, you don't understand how, like our economy based in Australia is based off like natural resource, like coal and stuff. So like that's a big part of our economies, and these countries can only afford that. Yeah. So it's like, if you were to just stop using coal, you don't understand like what that's going to do for established countries, like developed countries and developing countries. It's just going to ruin all of us. So it's like, it's not as simple as that, you know what I mean?
Oh, it'd be so cool like having some sort of social impact, like going overseas and doing stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be so cool.
Cool in what way?
Cool in like, I guess, making friends with people, but like, I don't know, helping them as well, like figuring out ways to improve their lives just with the technology that we have or stuff that we've learned. Like there'd be so many engineers in like all these countries that are struggling that like you could collaborate with and I don't know, form a connection.
Okay, so it is the element of connection and service that you love about it.
Or that like, I haven't done anything like that before, so I'm just kind of going off what I think would be enjoyable.
Well, that's what drives you. Like those thoughts and those sort of things are what you're manifesting in a way, and that's what you're chasing essentially. So it's cool to know that those are your motives versus like, oh, I just want to get rich, I want to like take pride in what I do and like be egotistical. Like it's awesome that
I definitely want to be like financially comfortable.
Oh, for sure. I think that's something all of us desire in a way, but that's great that that's not at the forefront. And what you said is financially comfortable. Like you're not saying I want to be filthy rich, which is beautiful, because I think that will go so much further when, I don't know, times are really tough and I don't know, your projects are backflipping or whatever. It's like, why are you going to keep doing it? And the motive of helping people is always going to be there, because as long as there's people, like we can always help. So that's great.
And alongside that, like I would love to just have like a design studio, just making just furniture and you know, stuff for rich people.
Yeah, what was this? It was on your Instagram story the other day, like.
Oh, that weird coral.
Yeah,
thing.
what was that?
It's just like mucking around with figuring out how to mold things and out of concrete and stuff like that. It was like you know, brain coral?
No.
It's basically like a type of coral that looks like a human brain.
Whoa.
and I made it on like this software called Grasshopper. And then I just thought, I'll try and make like those things you put onto like hot pots?
Oh, yeah, like a
Like
to stop the table getting burnt. Or
Yeah, like a trivet.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, I just tried to make one of them and like made the so you like, it's like a long process you start with. Like you 3D print the object and then you've got to make a box for that. So it just, for example, this is the object and it will sit in the box and then you pour the silicon around that. The silicon takes the shape of that object. And then when the silicon sets, you pour like another substrate in, like concrete or plaster, or that's how they make like cups. Like, they mold them, right? Yeah. I was just experimenting with that, I guess. Yeah.
That's cool. And that's like, do you class that as fun?
Yeah, I loved it. It was so cool.
That's so great. What else do you do for fun? Obviously, like hiking, photography, surfing.
Playing guitar, although I have been lacking a bit lately, which I don't like at all. Yeah, like working out. I've been, ever since, you know how we went on a run, like, it's probably a while ago.
Oh, yeah. When
Yeah.
Pat didn't run.
Yeah.
Ever since that day, I've been training like way harder again.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I think it must have just been a coincidence. But yeah, like I ordered all these kettlebells and stuff that day, and then just been working out like consistently.
How long ago was this?
Like 2 months ago, maybe.
Oh,
8 weeks.
Yeah, it's been about 2 months.
Yeah, right.
A bit longer.
So I was pretty slack for like 6 months probably, like working out at my friend Josh's gym, and then got to a point where I couldn't be bothered to just keep going there every time, even though it's in Forestville. It's just like I only have half an hour to 45 minutes to work out sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. You can always go to Pat's or like Narrabeen Lakes, the outdoor
Yeah.
gyms.
Yeah, Liam and I are gonna start going there a bit
They're so good.
because not having a pull-up bar sucks. I built one at my old house, like concreted it all, and then we moved, and I was like, wow, that was pointless. Yeah.
No, working out's so great for
What do
you.
you feel like that has that done anything for you? Like over the last 2 months, like working out?
Oh yeah, I feel way stronger and like even more confident almost. Like I felt like such a little skinny twig. I'm still like skinny as, but like
No, but you know that you're like actively
yeah.
lifting. You know what I mean?
And I even feel fitter like surfing, for example. Like even if you work out the day before, I find I don't really get sore anymore. Like
Yeah, it's because you're also now, your body understands what recovery is because you're breaking down your muscle and then you're recovering. So if you're working out all the time, your recovery is already getting so much better.
yeah, like I feel like I'm paddling quicker, or like I can just last longer. Like yesterday I surfed for 5 hours, and like normally, not in one go, like broke it down, but
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure that's not normal.
yeah, like if I had done that, I don't know, before, I probably would have I always used to get cramps here and stuff, and like,
Yeah, no, you're just getting stronger. Like it's anything, you do it more, you're gonna get better and stronger at it. So that's great that you do that. What
I guess, I think they're photography, like surfing,
hiking. You said you hike? Yeah.
I love
How'd you get
hiking.
into hiking?
I don't know, like, because I used to live like Oxford Falls, French's Forest area, and like there's so many bush tracks there, like you would have known. And then we always used to just explore like every day, like find new spots. Like I'm honestly baffled at all the places we found just by like bush bashing or like just, I don't know, just exploring. Like that waterfall in Oxford Falls, and we found like a rock the size of a football field up there.
Jeez.
Like huge, just flat rock.
Alright.
Like I'm sure Aboriginals used to live there, but
Yeah.
I reckon that where I live definitely influenced my love for hiking. If I was brought up in the city, like I guarantee I wouldn't have.
You wouldn't hike.
No.
Yeah. No, definitely. Do you do like, will you do just like day hikes or do you go on overnight hikes?
I've done overnight hikes and day hikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like both. Yeah.
Do you enjoy like the overnight? Like.
Yeah, I like overnight hikes more.
I feel like, how's your photography? Like when you hike, do you take your camera with you or anything?
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Sick. So do you feel like you take something from that, like nature, etc., like going out in nature and actually like recording it?
Yeah, sure. I love taking photos of places. That's like a lot of the reason why I like hiking.
Yeah, okay.
Just to get to places where aren't easy to access and
100%. We should take up a hike.
Yeah, definitely.
we've
We've been trying for years.
Really?
Literally. Yeah, no, we've been trying to take up a
the
hike.
next one, like all three of us.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, because I have like a period of like a week, like I think the start of October or the end of this month.
We're away on the 8th, but
8th of October. I was thinking before that. Oh, where are you going?
Uluru, driving. We're making that documentary. Have I told you about it?
No.
Okay, so we're have you heard of the Shitbox Rally?
Yeah.
So it's kind of that concept, but we're making it our own thing.
Oh, okay.
And we're recording it and making a doco. So Sam Harvey's like producing it.
So that's gonna be good.
So there's like myself, Kyle, Will, and Andrew Reese, and then Sam and Blake on cameras. And we're doing it for mental health, so all the profits raised will go to Gotcha for Life,
Yes, yeah.
with obviously the idea of like 0 suicides and eradicating suicide is like a goal I have and a vision that I try and work towards.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was meant to do it a couple years ago with like a bunch of other friends, and then like just plans changed, COVID happened, blah blah blah, and then now I'm doing it with like these guys, which I'm super keen for. So we'll be driving out there, filming for 5 or 6 days. One of my mates, Will, he have you met Will? Will did.
Probably not.
Okay. He did jackarooing in the middle of Australia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he has a bunch of contacts out there, and he like lived in a like indigenous community for I think it was about a month. So he has a bunch of contacts, and he's been talking to them, and hopefully we will be able to go and like speak to some First Nations people, which will be just an awesome perspective in terms of mental health and life out there, because I think there's so many things that people hear just would be so confused by as to like what they do. Like Will was telling us about this men's circle, and every day they meet from like I think he said like 3 or 4 p.m. onwards, and they just sit around like this fire and make tea and cook kangaroo and whatnot. And one time he went and just like timed it on his phone or his watch, and it was 40 minutes before anyone said a word. They just sat in silence and existed for 40 minutes, like drinking tea, eating food.
But the intention isn't to sit there for 40 minutes and not speak. Like that just happened.
It's just they do it all the time. Like they just exist with each other in silence. And I think
Is this in the indigenous community?
Yeah.
Or,
yeah, and I think there's a lot that we can learn in like their way of living, and like try to open people's eyes up to here, and maybe it's practices that they do that we take here and kind of adopt into our own, which will just benefit us, because I think the ability to sit silent is something that most people lack where we live, and also just sit alone with your thoughts is something that most people aren't able to do, and those are two like very powerful things when you can do them. So yeah, I'm just super excited for the trip. It's going to be like a very raw film.
I'm keen to see what Sam makes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's so keen because it's like his first sort of thing that he
Like
gets to
solo.
control fully.
Yeah,
So he's so excited for it, which is sick.
So it's going to be great. So yeah, we're doing that on the 8th of October till the
24th.
Wow.
We'll be,
Oh yeah, we're also
we're extending for 10 days just to like film stuff for us
Yeah.
and experience a bit, because we're out there.
yeah.
Do you need like a permit or anything?
Yeah, to fly at Uluru you do. So to like fly and film at Uluru, you need one. They have like a full-on flight path
Yeah.
that the drone has to take. Like it's
Yeah.
Because there's always planes flying over there and stuff.
yeah. So and I forget. I don't want to speak on it, but there's a side that you can't photograph.
Really?
Yeah.
Because all the photos are always from one side.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a side you can't photograph. I'm not sure the exact reasoning, but like something to do with like respect, I would say. But yeah, so that'll be fun. But yeah, you do need a permit. But yeah, I'm super keen for that trip. That'll be a lot of fun. But we should definitely tee up a hike.
Yeah,
100%.
Where's been some of your favorite locations? Like your Instagram is just like, I love it.
It's so sick. I was just like, you have so many posts as well. I was just going through and the next
Yeah,
one was
a lot.
like times like 30 minutes. I was like,
Oh, that one I did was it last weekend?
The insane climb.
Yeah, Bungonia Gorge. That was unbelievable. That's
that
like
was
one of
sick.
the
Is
best
this
places.
the drone shot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that bottom was like where I was.
So cool.
Yeah, it was like, I sort of randomly decided to go there because I was going to a friend's party on a farm. And I was like, I don't want to just drive there and party and come home. Like, I want to make something out of it. And then I couldn't really get anyone to come with me. So I'm like, fuck it, I'll just go alone. And then,
You went solo.
yeah.
Sick.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
I wish I came.
Yeah, I should have gone.
It was like the night I hurt
I
my
think I
ankle.
messaged you.
Yeah, it was the night I hurt my ankle. He was like, dude, come away. I'm like, I can't.
That night or the
No,
night after?
the night of, because he was leaving, I think, the Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Damn.
I got there and there was like no one there. And it was like, I started to get a bit scared because it had rained heaps. And like I heard this, I feel like people have died here. It was like kind of, if it rained, like it would get so dangerous.
Really?
North
Wait,
Face,
So where was it, sorry?
So it's called Bungonia National Park. It's
Okay,
like 2.5 hours southwest.
Okay.
So like below the Blue Mountains, kind
Yeah,
of.
got
Yeah,
it,
it's
yeah.
hard to describe.
Mhm.
Like inland, probably from maybe Nowra area,
Okay,
or
yeah.
sort of around there.
Right, that
yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Sick.
North Face did like a series of doing that hike and bouldering all the cliff face and
Oh,
stuff.
really?
And they went there in a flood and like had ropes set up to cross the rivers and like
Whoa,
That's wild.
Yeah,
you'd slip and you die.
And you were there solo.
Yeah. But it wasn't that bad when I was there. Like I got pretty lucky.
When you say you were scared, was that the isolation, or you were scared for like your life in terms of the danger?
I wouldn't say I was scared for my life, but at one point, because the climb down was like unbelievable. I've never done anything so steep in my life that wasn't like rock climbing.
Whoa.
Like it was like loose shale rock, like that steep, just like quad burner for like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes.
Damn.
Like coming back up that way will be fucked. There's nothing to hold. Whereas the way so like people go anti-clockwise or clockwise, and like there's all this debate on which way to go, and then
Is it a loop trail?
yeah, it's a
Yeah,
loop.
okay.
And then I was the only person, apart from another group, which I didn't see, that went anti-clockwise, and it was definitely like the right choice, because going anti-clockwise, you got this crazy steep climb in, and then the climb out is probably even worse. But there's tree roots to pull yourself up on. There's shade,
Yeah, okay.
and then you go anti-clockwise, and you get a perfect view of the canyon the whole way.
Oh, okay.
Whereas you go the other way, your back's facing it, and
Yeah.
you don't see anything.
Yeah.
And then instead of climbing down these huge boulders, I was climbing up them. So I found that kind of easier.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes when you're climbing down, it's obviously a lot worse. Like, because you're just...
Oh,
worried
yeah,
about
because,
slipping
like-
and stuff, I'd rather climb up.
Yeah, the thing about this was like you'd make like a wrong choice and you'd be screwed because you wouldn't be able to get back up if you're climbing down things.
Yeah.
It was like so analytical the way you had to go about the climb. Like you'd get to one spot and then you'd try a few different routes, you'd come back.
Yeah.
Like it was actually really fun doing that kind of thing.
And was this just a day hike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people do it overnight, but I just did it in a day.
Yeah.
Have you ever done solo overnight?
Nah. I've done like solo overnight trips, but not like fully hiking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like that one of those trips on my blog.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it, but
No, I don't.
I went out to like Jenolan area to
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
okay.
dig crystals. I just randomly decided to drive out there one day, and then just spent like 2 days digging crystals and stuff, and just exploring the pine
Sick.
forest. It was
That's
so
awesome.
good.
That's
yeah,
so cool.
Would you go solo overnight hiking?
yeah, for sure.
Does that?
I would rather go with a friend,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Why? What? When you think about a solo overnight trip, what do you think that would entail in terms of growth and emotions, fears? Like, do you think you would get more out of that versus going with friends?
Growth-wise.
Growth-wise, I would say no, because I feel like the connection and the memories you get are generally better when you go with friends, and like the conversations you have are fun, and you get like a mutual experience of the things you see and stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be hard. Like, everyone has their opinion on it. I haven't done a solo overnight either. But I know based off like Josh's experiences doing them and stuff. But
Yeah.
I feel like you'd get obviously a lot from being there by yourself because you're confronting
Yeah,
a lot of things. You don't have that security network of having someone there with you.
yeah,
But then also, like you mentioned, being with others, it's just so like binding
yeah.
because you're just so raw because it's everything you have on your back and that's it.
And like you can sort of like have like a, I guess like a mutual sort of connection from the shit that happens. Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
definitely. Yeah.
But I'm not scared of doing anything alone. Like I'm
Yeah.
fine with being alone.
That's beautiful.
Especially like being an only child, I feel like that sort of
Yeah, so you feel
helps
like
a bit.
for you maybe it's like you'd actually get a lot more out of going with people.
Yeah,
because
probably.
Like, you know you'd get something from being alone, but
Yeah.
also yeah. See, I'd find that I'm the opposite. I'd probably get
Oh,
more
really?
out of being by myself because I'm more like I'm always around people. Like I'm not an only child. Like I have a brother. I'm really close
Yeah.
with him. So it's the complete opposite.
Yeah,
Like
okay.
I would get a lot more out of being alone
Yeah.
and doing that. But yeah.
What about you?
Definitely more being alone. Like, I've done both sides of it. I haven't done, what I want to do is, I've done like bigger scale hikes and like the backpacking trip with somebody, but I want to do a bigger scale solo trip. Because comparatively, like the most I've done I think was a 3-day solo hike, and that was really beneficial, but it doesn't really compare to like the 10-day bikepacking trip or the 12-day hike that I did with Adam. So I want to do like a 12-day solo hike or something around that to see what I would get from that. But it's just two different experiences. One's very stimulating, one's very fun. I would say being with other people is just fun because there's no one there to judge you. Like, you're with your friends and you can just laugh about the dumbest things. Like, I think people assume that you have these really insightful conversations when you're out in nature hiking. Yes, you do, but so much of it is just like being idiots, which is so much fun.
It's definitely more thought-provoking when you're by yourself.
100%.
Introspective.
Yeah, you spend so much time just thinking about life and what it is you want and what you're grateful for, and that's when you really feel like the deprivations come into play, like depriving yourself of connection, of like a warm bed, nice food. All of those come into your mind, and like that desire for those things comes up, and then it's like, okay, why do I want these things? What is it about like this connection I want? What is it about this flavor in my mouth that I want? Like, there's just a lot of time to break down all of these thoughts, and then you come back with a really good perspective of what matters to you, and then that quickly goes away as you just get distracted.
A few more days and it's gone.
Exactly. But
yeah, for me, I would say I get more growth out of being by myself, but I have so much more fun and more memorable experiences with others. They're more memorable because the ones by yourself, like, they're really beneficial, but I'm not thinking back to all these moments, but all the moments I've had with my friends on hikes or whatever, it's like, oh, that was the time.
Like, we recently did like a hike in Cozzy.
Yeah.
And it was like all of our first like snow hike.
Dude, you guys sounded like almost underprepared.
No, we were severely
Dude,
underprepared.
way underprepared.
Yeah, I was gonna
Way
say.
We didn't have
underprepared.
snowshoes. The fact
I
that
was the
we
most prepared, and only because I had some pants,
snow pants.
snow pants.
So you're just wearing like jeans,
No.
No,
Like, I had
hiking
hiking pants.
he had
like waterproof hiking pants?
So
No.
See, I was the most prepared because like the day before I was
I wouldn't do something like that.
I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy. They were on sale as well at Anaconda, and I was like, oh, I'll just buy them. They're like $35.
Yeah.
Why not? Because I'm sure I'll use them again. So like, and that was the most prepared. Just me having snow pants.
Yeah,
That
right.
was the most prepared out of anyone.
Yes, because we all just wore normal hiking shoes, which is not the way to walk in snow. I'd never seen snow until this point as well.
Yeah, that's wild.
But yeah,
Good way to get introduced to it.
Oh,
it was a great way.
It was sick.
It was such a good way. It was so difficult, so physically demanding. But again, there's a part of the journey that's so fun, being so underprepared and just being humbled by the elements.
But we all loved it.
Like,
Did you have like a what do they call, like an EPIRB?
Yeah, I always carry one
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough then.
Just
because it's like
Did you hear about that guy who died in the backcountry last week?
last week. No, not last week.
Yeah, he was like, I think he was skiing Watson's Crag or something like that, and he didn't file a trip report. He was like 23 years old, 23 or 24, and then he didn't. There was no news of him, and then they found his body just like lying there
Holy shit.
from the helicopter.
That's wild.
Did they determine cause of death or not?
I think they're doing it now, which is like, he was experienced, so it makes you think like, I wonder, like, did he
Something
sprain his ankle or like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's so sad.
That is wild. It's you have to be so smart about those things, and I don't know. It's like the 127 hours. Have you seen that film? Like, that guy didn't tell anyone where he's going, didn't file anything, gets stuck in that situation, has to cut his own arm off to survive, and like, amazing that he survived. But like, you would assume 9 out of 10 times whoever that is dies in that cave, and it's like all you have to do is just prepare a little bit. Like, tell someone where you're going, when you plan to be back by, like, fill out a trip intention form, have an EPIRB with you. Like, there's all these steps in place that we can take to ensure safety. And like, I'm guilty of that sometimes when I go solo. I won't do that stuff, which is really stupid.
Oh, Sam, I don't have any EPIRB or
Yeah, which is so dumb. Like, when you think about it, it's so dumb.
it
But
really is.
we say to ourselves, like, oh, it's never going to happen. But dude, I'm sure that 23-year-old thought that would never happen to him. And like,
yeah, like
what
when you get experience, you almost just like overlook your
Because
vulnerability.
it's just a basic math of like, nothing's ever happened to me before, so probability.
it's
You're
like
just
our
like-
friend. In an example of this, we were training for the triathlon, and we'd literally been riding all year, like Alec and myself. 9 months we'd been cycling. He never carried a spare tube, never had a pop tire, like never popped a tube. On the triathlon, he pops on. And then it's like,
He didn't have a tube.
no, he didn't have a spare tube, and he gets so mad because it's like, this has never happened before. I've done like
over
Murphy's
100
Law.
rides.
exactly. And it's like, dude, the one time it happens, that's when you're gonna be like, shit, I need this thing. So get an EPIRB.
Dude, that was like
Retention form.
that was like for fishing. Although it never actually happened to me, but like I'd always go fishing and not bring a bucket or like an esky because I'm like, I'm not going to catch anything. And then I started bringing like a bucket just in case I'd catch a fish, even though I didn't. But like I was like preparing myself.
Yeah.
No, you have to prepare for the outcome.
Yeah.
Prepare, and when it's hiking and stuff, prepare for the worst. Like get ready for the situation. And it's also not as even when you have it, I didn't realize that like sometimes they take quite a while to come in. So when I was doing the hunt, the bike ride, I think it was the year prior, there was a guy on it, and he had to use the EPIRB to get rescued. He like got lost at night.
On the same ride.
Yeah, on the route. I think his last name was Hunt as well, which is funny, but he wasn't related to the event organizer. And he was like a couple 100 meters away from this hut where he could have like got in and stayed and like would have been fine, but it was like lost. He got delirious, whatever. Pulled the EPIRB, and they didn't come till like it was almost 24 hours later. It was like 18 hours or something because it was at night and they couldn't get there or couldn't get a helicopter there. Like there was all these complications, but it's like even then it's like that would be the longest 18 hours of your life.
Well, because you don't know. Like, they're just like.
It's good because these sort of things are going to be in the past soon because like all the satellite phones. Have you seen like the new iPhone?
No.
It's wild. The new iPhone has satellite. So wherever you are with I checked and like the Australian provider they're using already has nationwide coverage. So you won't even need a sat phone or an EPIRB or anything. You'll just be able to make a call.
In your
How
pocket.
good is that?
Yeah.
See, this is where like
Starlink
innovation and shit, like people shit on it. This is so great. Like look what it creates is like you can go out in the bush and like feel safe.
That would actually warrant me getting a new phone.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
No doubt. That's like massive.
Like most
feature.
things for phones coming up for me, I'm like, I don't care. It's just a gimmick.
Yeah,
But
whatever.
It's just more comfort, but like this is a level of comfort where it's like no, this is like survival comfort.
But it means you can actually go a place like you feel like you can go and experience like a wilder place just because you know you're like if something did go south, you know you'd be able to pull yourself out. You have more confidence. So it actually in turn, like I was saying, it's like it actually pushes you to do more because you have more. Like if you see it in that light.
Yeah, it's more comfortable. Like the thought of going into the bush is now more comfortable than what it was without it.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, like there's good things and bad things to comfort.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild. That's so sick that I didn't think
know
of that.
Yeah.
That's,
you know something interesting I've noticed for like camping and stuff. Like I've watched all these videos of people going on overnighters and stuff on YouTube, and like they bring so much like cooking equipment and like luxury food and stuff. I feel like I'm probably the most basic camp eater like ever. I don't bring a pan, don't bring a pot. Basically, don't bring anything that like requires any effort to make. I don't care. Like beans and a wrap and tuna, maybe a salad pack, like some snacks.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm so chill. I'm very much the same. When I hike, I like bring a stove because I just love having hot food at night and making like a hot chocolate or something.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about that stuff.
Makes me sound way more like. But no, I will happily eat like tuna, and I do eat tuna pretty much every hike
Tuna wraps. Like I don't think I'll ever not have that in
because
my
they're so
pack when
easy.
I
Wraps are so easy.
Tuna and lentils are good.
like just like throw that in, like you said, salad bag.
Yeah.
You open it up before you go, so it's not air. It's like flat. Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's interesting seeing what people take hiking, what luxuries.
Like, you know, Scotty's on walkabouts.
Yeah.
You've seen the kind of meals, which I almost respect that.
Yeah.
He makes like gourmet meals.
Yeah,
Camping.
but that's also you got to think about that's for his content too.
Yeah.
So it's like worth it. So
Yeah, like when I'm car camping and stuff, I always make good food.
it
Yeah,
felt like
luxury.
That. Yeah. But yeah, like probably the most luxury in terms of food is like I'll bring. Oh, actually, no. What was the most recent hike we did?
Cozzy.
What did we eat? Pasta.
Yeah, just dried food, like
Yeah.
something because dehydrated meals are so expensive.
Yeah, there's such a.
I want to get a dehydrator to make.
Yeah, I bought one.
It's just healthier.
Dude, $40.
Oh
Really?
damn!
Yeah.
And have you made meals with it, like dehydrated?
No, not yet.
Yeah, right.
I just used it for seaweed.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because I know the was it secondhand?
Nah, brand new from Kmart.
Oh damn, yeah. Like I don't know, but like when I was doing research into them, the cheap ones seem to be like harder for like meat and like actual meals in terms of like actually really
So you're
dehydrating
saying
it well.
you'd want to invest in like a better one because you can do like everything with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Should probably try.
I'd look into it a bit more.
They actually, one thing about them is that dehydrators use so much power.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Like
This one's over 1,000 watts and you're leaving it on like for 24
Hours. Yeah.
It's a lot of power.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So worth it.
One thing, like when we talk about like pack weight and stuff, I've realized I've always just been just carry a lot of weight, like anywhere from 24 to 30 kilos
What?
for overnight hikes.
No way, dude. I'm like 10 kilos.
Yeah, no. So
I'm
something.
obsessed with being light.
No. Something I realized. I always thought like, oh, the more I can like rock out, like the tougher I am, and I'm like, oh, it's just fine. Like it doesn't make that much of a difference. But after doing the Bondi to Manly, like the 80k walk, I had no weight on my back, like a couple kilos, if that. And
More enjoyable.
dude, it is so much easier to walk with
Yeah.
no weight on your back than it is with weight. Like we could walk 80k's in a day, whereas hiking, I walk like 30k's and I'm absolutely like
Yeah.
done.
Gutted. Yeah.
So I think the next hike I'm going to do, I'm really just going to try and strip my weight in half. I think they
Ultralight.
say like 10% of your body weight is what you want to be aiming for.
Holy
Yeah.
The problem is with that is like that's expensive to
That's
do.
when it's like, yeah, you're paying like $2,000 for a tent.
I was literally about to say that. It's
Yeah.
like anything like that is like if you go sub 10%, I'm sure that's like considered ultralight packing.
Yeah.
And that's just like you watch some of those videos. One, it's so satisfying, like seeing those videos of like
Yeah.
those guys that have like all the gear, like but they carry the smallest backpack, and it's just like
Yeah, I'm using like a 30 litre or
30? Damn, I have a 65.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
It's wild though, because when I think 10% of my weight, that's 8.8 kilos. I literally carry,
88
Seven-
kilos.
yeah, I carry 7 kilos in water.
Really?
Yeah, I carry 7 liters
I
usually.
drink like I'm the same as you. Like
Depends
I
where
drink
you're going.
so much water. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I,
Like, what happens if it's cold?
Yeah, on that Bungonia hike, I brought 2 litres of water. It said bring 3 on the side.
2 liters.
And
Wait for a day.
I only drank 500 ml.
Oh my goodness.
Dude, I
For
can't.
how long? How
uh,
far was that?
the hike's like 5 hours, but I did it in 2.5 hours.
Okay.
Oh, that's
But you only have 500 mil.
Yeah.
Dude, that 2 L's would be next back to the car.
Oh, I got to the
yeah.
top. I sculled a litre. But like,
Yeah.
it's like I deprived myself. I just like couldn't be fucked to keep stopping, and because I kept stopping to pull my camera out. It was so time consuming.
Do you have the bag strap, like the clip?
Ah,
Dude,
no,
you
I
You
don't.
have to get one.
Yeah, I can't believe you haven't and I
Yeah, I
don't.
know.
If anyone's going to get one, it's you.
Yeah.
You should be the guy to have
No, because it was the kind of thing where like, you do not want to have your camera out on that hike because you
Oh,
just smash it into
smash it.
rocks. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
There was one point where I was like, it's hard to describe, but there was like the only way to get up the rocks was to climb through a cave, and this was the angle of the cave, and you're walking along it like that, and there's just water gushing through here, and I was pushing with my life along here to not fall in because I didn't care about getting wet. My camera was in my bag,
Yeah.
and then I fell in the water, and like the current almost started trying pulling me.
You
but
fell.
I fell, yeah,
Oh,
and I used like all my finger strength to just like pull myself back up, and I was like, my heart was just,
Was your camera okay?
yeah, my camera was fine.
Sick.
My heart was beating like crazy.
Dude, the fear.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That is, I do find that a bit burdensome. Again, coming back to materialistic objects, like carrying the camera, it's like I care for it, I don't want to get damaged, blah, blah, blah. So therefore, when I'm hiking, I'm so much more careful and cautious. And it is a thought in my mind of like, oh, I need to be careful how I go down this rock face. Like for my camera,
It might be better for your body though. Anyway.
yeah, probably.
True, you're not throwing yourself
Probably,
around.
but I think for the mind, again, it's like it anchors you to something. You're
Yeah.
still tied down and you still care about this thing. Whereas, like, there is power in just not having any of that and just being like,
Yeah.
I don't care about anything in my pack. Yes, I want it. I'm gonna care for it because it's all mine, but I don't care if it all gets damaged. I don't care if it gets wet or broken, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. Like, that's just so much more liberating.
It's a good thing being able to just like chuck your bag, like not care what.
Yeah,
oh, it
that's
is
so
so
damn.
nice. I haven't been able to do that for so long, but I do love when that is the case.
I reckon what's scary in those situations, like because I just bring plastic water bottles hiking, I don't bring like
Yeah,
a metal one, obviously.
Yeah.
Like imagine if your water bottle just popped or like pierced or.
That's why I bring multiple. So I only ever do collapsibles and bladders. So I have 2 bladders that I bring and then 2 collapsible drink bottles. So I have 4 water sources plus a life straw, so technically 5. In terms of storage, though, 4. And like none of them have popped yet. But I know there will come a day where one of them pops and I'm like, damn, that's heavy. But I still have 3 others. I think the worst thing you can do is rely on one water source.
That's crazy. That makes no sense because if you're gonna pick one thing that you like that you have, freaking water.
Yeah, it's like our mate Will, the guy that was on the Nullarbor. He was driving this road. He this has been the only time he's like almost died, and he got bogged in the middle of nowhere and like no way out, no reception, no EPIRB, nothing. Like,
Whereabouts?
middle of Australia,
Jeez.
like on this dirt, like literally. He said like it was. He actually got to the point where he thought he might die. and his jerry can, he only had one water source, and his jerry can had been like leaking, like he didn't screw it on properly. So he only had like a couple 100 ml left.
No.
And it's like, dude, depending on one water source is the dumbest thing you can do.
Again, it's like you were saying before with something, like, think about it. Oh, the PLBs. You're just talking about, like, how dumb is it that you have, like, if you didn't have one? Like, it's just dumb. When you really think about it, why would you carry one water source?
Exactly.
If
Right.
it's
The only
water-
argument is like the cost, but then it
but-
probably doesn't even
dude,
cost that much.
the
That's a
cost of
stupid
your life,
argument.
your
No,
life.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
You can't put like monetary value on it, so buy it. But that's
Yeah,
the thing. In
you
terms
can
of-
until you die.
Yeah, that's the thing with the pack weight. Is it's like some things, like I could reduce my pack by like 10 kilos easily, but like
10 kilos.
dude, yeah, because
He
my
carries the
hiking
same.
experience is
Can
like
you guys
based
like
on
list what
Josh.
you bring in your bag? Actually,
Okay, so I have.
I literally have the list. I'll show you once we're done. Like I'll show you a list.
Yeah. But no, there's.
In my mind, there's non-negotiables when it comes to hiking. Like things that I'm absolutely going to take, PLB being one of those, journal being one of those, camera usually one of those, obviously water sources.
Maybe a bit of food.
Yeah, food.
probably
Yeah,
a good
food's probably
idea.
a good idea. And then life straw or some sort of like water filtration system.
Yeah.
They're pretty much the only like absolute musts. And like
in
what
terms
about
of-
like sleeping bag and tent?
Yeah,
Your next layers, like
again,
shelter.
shelter depends where I'm going. Like maybe I'll take my hammock. Maybe I'm going to a warm place and I'm actually like I really don't need a tent. I might just take a sleeping bag. Like really depends where I'm going for that. Obviously, some form of shelter is like necessity, but in terms of what I need to bring is like those things are an absolute must, and then everything else is like dependent upon where I'm going and what I'm doing.
Yeah, fair enough.
But I do want to get it lighter because you can just move so much further, so much faster.
You know what I found with that, because I used to pack heavy as well, I had to wear boots just because like when you're carrying a bag that heavy, you generally need like
Dude,
pretty
more
rugged
stability.
shoes. Yeah, but
100%.
I've gone to trail runners now, like
Oh really?
super light trail runners, but like they're still designed for.
How far
hiking.
do you reckon you could hike? Not far. Sorry. How long do you think you could hike with those and not boots?
Oh,
feel
way
like-
longer, I reckon.
Really? So
Dude,
you-
every time I hike in boots, like I take my shoes off and my feet feel terrible. But like
Damn.
I got like Hoka speed goats.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I took my shoes off and my feet didn't hurt at all. No blisters. Like I've never experienced that.
What about like your ankles? I mean, in terms of long, I mean like multiple day hikes.
Yeah.
So you did like a 3-4 day hike.
I reckon it'd be better off.
Wow.
Just because like there's less weight in your back, you don't. The ankle support thing's kind of like argued a lot. I feel.
Counterproductive because it's like just make your pack lighter.
Yeah.
And then there's like less weight that you're like. But again, if you twist your ankle, you twist your ankle. So
I do see the argument in like, say if you're in the snow and you need to bring a lot of weight, which you generally do, like for layers and stuff, maybe
Yes.
boots would be better for that. Or
yeah.
but like people doing like the PCT, they're all wearing trail runners.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah, no, it seems to be, in terms of walking, just multiple days and times, like, I prefer I have two Vivo barefoots, like, I have their boots and then just their, like, shoes. And I prefer my shoes for walking in terms of multiple days so much more than the boots.
Have you seen like Tevas?
No.
They're like a hiking sandal.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they're really big in like probably the US, like Colorado and places like that. But they look so cool.
Yeah.
Like they're really airy, but they've got like a supportive, like cushiony,
Whack.
rugged bottom.
Sand.
They look so cool.
Yeah.
It's like Birkenstocks, but like sort of
For hike.
But
rugged.
for long distance.
Yeah.
That's wild.
and waterproof,
That's crazy.
or like quick drying.
Be something. There would be something to like having your foot obviously out and like breathable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That would probably do a whole lot for you.
I feel like it makes sense for like the sort of hike that I just did, where like
Yeah.
I kept taking my shoes off to
Oh,
walk
really?
through the rivers.
Oh yeah.
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 Down wet.
But yeah, in the case where the shoe will just drain it, that makes so much
Yeah.
sense.
Mm.
There was a guy when I did the Larapinta, he wore like normal sandals.
Really?
He
Was that
bought
like a mission of his?
no. So he bought a brand new pair of boots for the Pinty, and he drove his car to the finish and then got a lift back to Alice Springs, and him and his family were walking towards his car, and he left his boots in his car at the end.
I remember you telling me.
So he was literally walking in like Kmart sandals, and the heel had rubbed through, so he got like an orange peel, and it had gone. He just slid it under.
That's nuts. Did he like manage it?
Yeah, dude. They did it in like, I think it took them 15 days or something, whatever they were doing it in. But no complaints. And he was just wearing like trackies. Like I honestly don't think he had a spare pair of clothes. He was just
Really?
wearing like trackies and a top.
Sick.
I did something idiotic like that once. I did like a main range hike in Cozzy,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and I didn't bring long pants, and
Yeah.
it was so unbelievably cold that I had to like almost emergency drive to Jindy and buy thermals because I
Whoa.
was so cold.
Jeez.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
And it cost me like $250.
But again, it's desperation. Like, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to freeze or you're going to do it? That's where sometimes it's fun to be super underprepared because you just learn so much. And if you make it out alive, like, it is a good laugh. But there's just so much to being prepared. Like the guy that's prepared is going to get further. He's going to be able to help somebody else. And there's the other aspect of, like, it being stupid to be underprepared, because then you're putting not only yourself in danger, but now somebody else, like, is going to be responsible to come and rescue you. And it's like,
It's selfish.
you shouldn't do that. It is selfish. So preparation is so important.
Yeah. I was just thinking about how that Cozzy hike and how you're saying we're underprepared, and like, dude, we intended on trekking like 20k's in, 20k's out, and like we did like five in, 5 out.
Yeah,
Dude,
it was
we
like-
walked all day.
like-
Well, no, I can understand because I got stuck in the like backcountry at Perisher once.
Yeah.
Just we went off trail and then we sunk to our waist, and like it was like a half day thing getting back up.
Dude,
No, it's
because
so
all
hard.
So
day,
scary.
every step we took was at least like a boot deep minimum.
Oh, how
So it
bad is
started
it?
getting like knee high,
It would just vary. Like, you'd take 2 steps, you're on the surface. Next one, like, you're up to your waist.
which is the worst part. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's no rhythm.
I remember I heard you guys saying like you wouldn't know whether you're gonna fall into a pit or just keep
Yeah.
going.
No, 100%. And, like, that's what was so hard. And I would never do that again because it was just dumb.
Without snowshoes.
Yeah, without snowshoes, or like something where I'm not going to
plan.
fall to my waist.
Yeah.
Like, if you can walk normally on snow,
Yeah.
that's just going to be so much better.
Did you guys think about doing it on skis?
No, not at all. I did think about getting snow boots, but then again, it came down to cost. I was like, I'm only going to hike in snow once this year probably. I don't want to buy snow boots. I just don't need them. I'll be fine. And like, yes, we were fine, but did we do the hike we wanted to do, that we planned to do? No.
Not even
We had to improvise, and like, we're so lucky that the hut was there and that it was in reach. Like, because had that not have been there, we would have been screwed.
Dude, we were thinking about like, we were like not struggling in the hut, but it was freezing cold. And,
Yeah.
Like with the fire, and then we were thinking like we might not have even made it to a hut. Like we would have had to just cop a tent.
Yeah.
Would you have been fine?
No.
Oh no,
So
that would have been like a really terrible
and
night.
The
Yeah,
thing.
like,
Warm enough, cozy.
No, we
Well, just
had
something
warm
deep,
enough
it was-
clothes, but the reason that I think we wouldn't have been okay was we had the fire going in the hut, went to bed with it roaring, woke up, all of us were shivering because the fire was out. So my reality was like, okay, we were sleeping on timber. The outside reality would have been no fire, sleeping on snow.
yeah.
Like, and if I was freezing in the hut with a fire, I would have freaking frozen outside. So
Yeah.
we're just so lucky, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I actually need to respect the elements and the snow and know that
And we started.
that was dumb.
Yeah, we started speaking about like what we would have done like instead, and like I have the biggest tent I think because it's a 2-man. Like I had the 1-man version of it,
Yeah.
and then gave that to my brother and just caught the 2-man.
Just fit everyone in there.
Yeah, like just
Naked.
Like, we'd have to just be nude. Like
Why?
Because more
Well,
body
'cause we
heat.
wanted-
Body heat
oh.
transfers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sleeping naked,
No
like, your
insulation.
body heat transfers better and more insulation that way.
Like touching cheeks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would have been sick. A bit of a shame the hut was there.
But yeah, that would have that would have been our reality. So
full line. Which
Record
no, I'm
the
not
podcast
keen for that.
in that
Yeah, it would have
situation.
been a good pod. Yeah, like not that I'm keen
Ouch.
for like, not that I'm keen for that, but like it's also. Well, I guess we had it to some extent in the fact that we didn't do what we like planned to do, and I think like
Yeah.
to what Josh's point of like, dude, it just like having something not go to plan, and like having, speaking to what you were also saying as well, having people there as well, it just creates such a more memorable
Yeah.
like trip and like memory. It's so much better because if it went to plan, it would have been good, and like the main thing taking out of it was probably like the K's that we would have logged, and that would have been the main memory. But for this, the memory was like the lack of K's we logged because of like just the
shit.
uncertainty.
the lack
Yeah.
of prep.
Yeah.
What do you think about like, say if you were doing like a long overnighter alone and you met someone, like, would you want them to like stick around with you or?
Yeah, yes and no. Like, I've met a couple people on overnight hikes, and one guy I met, he was really cool. I always find when it's dark and I meet these people, there's that like fear response because we associate like robbers and bad things happening at night when it's dark. So that is there initially, and then in the daylight you're talking to them and you're like, oh, they're chill. But so the two people that I've met on solo hikes, one of them I genuinely thought like something was going to happen. The sun was setting and he rocks up to...
Like a bit creepy.
No, he rocks up to camp. He's this old guy and he's really big, like 6'4", weighs like 100 kilos, like muscle, but he's old. And I was like initially intimidated by his size. Sit down, like his name's Sandy, we're just having a chat and he's like, I'm like, oh, you here alone? He's like, no, I'm with my friends. Didn't seem alarmed that they weren't around. So I'm like, okay. I was like, oh, like, are they here? And he's like, oh, like, yeah, they were just behind me, like they'll be coming. And instantly in my mind, I'm like, it's so rare when you hike with your friends that you split up. So I'm already concerned, like why they're not here? Why are you not with your friends?
Wait, so he drove in or he hiked it?
No, hiked it.
Oh yeah, that is weird.
So I'm like, this is really got me concerned, but like I'm just gonna play along. And in my mind, I'm already like thinking survival. Like I know where my pocket knife is. I believe I'm gonna be faster than this guy. Like I'm already thinking about all of this stuff. And like it's funny now, but when you're in that moment, you're in the middle of the bush, no one's there to help you, and this is the case you're being presented with. So this guy Sandy was just giving me every reason not to trust him with what he was saying. We sat down, we were literally talking about like just life. I was keeping the convo going for like 40 minutes. And I was like, are your friends coming? Like, are you not concerned as to their whereabouts? And at this point, I'm like, okay, this is going to be the situation where, like, if he was going to do something, it would be when I've clocked, like, hey, your friends aren't here, dude. Like, what's up?
So if you were going to ask that question, you had to be most
Exactly,
ready.
exactly. So I asked that question, and then he just does the, like, oh, you're right. Like, they aren't here. That is a bit weird, isn't it? And I'm just like, waiting for what comes next. Like, am I clocking you, dude? Like, what's happening here?
Are they imaginary friends?
No, I was freaking out. So, and then we just like keep talking. I'm like, he just was like, yeah, I guess that's kind of weird that they're not here. Like, I don't know, they'll be here. They were behind me. And I'm like, all right, man. So we just kept talking another 20 minutes and then they showed up. So it was about an hour. And I'm like, no one blames me for like thinking this guy was going to kill me. Because...
Did you ask why they would split up?
No, so when they came, he's like, where were you guys? They're like, oh, we stopped for lunch. Like, we stopped and ate some
all
food.
Like 50 plus? Like...
No, like 60s.
Oh shit, okay.
Yeah, so they're all
just
older.
fucking weird.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just... that is
Weird.
stupid.
I was like,
yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, and then they all rock up and then I felt super at peace, and this was just before the Larapinto.
And now they all want to kill you.
They were training to do it. So I was
shit.
like, oh, that's cool. Then we found that common ground and it was all good.
Yeah.
But I was like really scared for a good like 30-40 minutes.
It's not often you see someone that old, like big and tall.
Yeah, no, dude, I was like, I think this guy would overpower me if it was hand on hand, but like I would back myself to run away. And then the other time I met this guy, his name was Josh, and like we chatted a little bit at night at camp, but not too much. And again, like there's always that fear I find anytime I'm solo and I see somebody else. I'm always like, oh, I don't know this person, who are they, blah blah blah. But then you go to bed and wake up, and then we were walking out together the next day and we just chatted for like 4 hours on the hike, which was really cool. He was an awesome dude. And it's just so nice meeting a new person in that kind of a setting, because like you already have a common ground because you're both hiking.
Yeah, you know, you share same interests.
Exactly. There's just no like any insecurity you have, any fear you might have, or any place someone has to judge you is just gone. Like you're on this level playing field because you're humbled by the mountains and you're just walking. Like there's nothing else to it.
And you know you might not necessarily see them again, or
so there is that element to it as well. And it was cool talking to him, and he like gave me a lot of perspective on comfort. In when we finished the hike, he also creamed me up the mountain. Like we were walking up, he just powered up, and I'm like, I hate this, but I love it.
Yeah.
Get to the top, he waited for me, which is nice. And he lived in Canberra, but we're in the Blue Mountains, so he had to get a train to Sydney and then a bus to Canberra.
Oh, that's completely...
And I was like, that's so nuts. Right. Like, man, I'm driving to Sydney, like jump in my car, I'll drive you. And he's like, no, like I actually really like getting the train. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean?
He's freaking weirdo.
Because he's traveled Asia for like many years, and he was just saying, when you are used to like being on trains in India, man, with like hundreds of people just squishing up against you, like sitting on a train in Sydney is actually a really nice thing. And I was like, damn, I've never thought that being on a train in Sydney would be like a nice thing.
Oh, I fully agree with that. Like, because I have to get the bus and the train to uni. Like, going from that packed beeline where you can't breathe to the train every morning is like bliss.
Yeah, right.
Because you never see next to someone else on the train most of the time.
Yeah. So it was just cool to hear him say that. And then I guess that starts to shift your perspective and impacts you in ways that you don't realize. But yeah, no, meeting people hiking is awesome. Solo is cool. I think it's more fun when I'm with somebody else because like all that fear is kind of gone, and then it's just instantly you're like opening yourself up to a connection more so. Yeah. Whereas when you're by yourself, you're a bit hesitant to form that connection.
Also, when you're with people, I feel like, again, I haven't experienced the other side of it, but I feel like when you're with people, if something went south, I'd be so much more confident to deal with it when there's someone else there. Like, not confident as the group, like confident as myself to like action it. But when if I was by myself, I'd feel way less confident. Well, I don't know if that's true, but I feel like that would be the case. Sure. Which is funny, hey, because I'm talking about just the individual ability to like combat something.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, meeting people hiking is that's what makes every trip for me. Like anytime I go hiking or do anything, meeting people is always just the absolute best part of it.
Not necessarily even hiking, just
like traveling anything, man. Yeah.
Like this place I went to, this old mine to like get those crystals out a few years ago. I met this random guy who like I think him and his dad went to Chile one day, like for a holiday to try like see if they could find any. Do you know what like lapis lazuli is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a blue rock. Or rock or crystal.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it's a rock.
Yeah, and then they like came across all this lapis lazuli on this guy's farm, and he was telling me that him and his dad like just offered the guy like straight up like we'll buy your whole property off you, and the guy agreed.
What?
Yeah, so they had like a gigantic lapis lazuli mine in Chile just from like that one holiday.
Wow.
No, it was so wild.
Yeah, and that's something you could never predict. If you ask someone, dude, hey, what do you think's going to happen on your trip to Chile? Like, I'll give you a million guesses. You're never guessing that.
Yeah.
Which is so cool. That's the best part about life and exploring the unknown is you just don't know what's going to come from it. And it can be so exciting.
Definitely.
Yeah.
One thing we do on here is like, have you listened to any of the pods?
Yeah,
like,
to a few of them.
Have you, like, you know that we do like the challenge? Have you seen that bit?
Maybe not.
Basically what we'll do is like, we'll have a challenge at the end of every pod that we'll do during the week of like the pod's release.
Oh yeah, okay.
So we ask the guests to see if they like have a challenge that they want people to do. Like generally it is based off like stuff we've talked about today.
Mm-hmm.
So is there anything that you want to put forward to people like as a challenge?
Well, to us, you can take your time.
Yeah, you can take your time.
Yeah, okay. Let me think. I feel like one regarding to maybe phone use would be an interesting one.
Sick.
Yeah. Let's say get your screen time. What are we thinking like every day that week?
Yeah.
Or just once in that week?
Yeah. For the whole week.
It can either be like the South African guy Seb, he challenged us to walk up to a stranger, don't say hi and just tell them a joke. And so like that's obviously just going to happen once, but we do like things where it's like consistent, holding you accountable for the whole day.
I reckon getting your screen time less than half an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Like for a week?
I don't know, let's say like 3 days. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because like half an hour is way less than you think.
No, that
half
is...
an hour's nothing. Half an hour's answering, like, half an hour is like doing the necessity things on a phone, like as in like someone calls you.
But like I'd limit that to a phone because like my laptop screen time will be heaps, but I'll be doing my work. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Sick.
I love that. It's a great challenge.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Definitely.
I'm going to have to put some work into it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to plan that out.
Yeah,
like,
okay,
just
same.
to be like, 30 minutes is nothing.
Can't even reply to people.
Yeah,
no, honestly.
Like, yeah. Which is
you should be good at that because you never reply.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. See, it does have uses.
It does get overwhelming sometimes just if you're talking to multiple people at once or...
For sure. Yeah. And then you never give them your all in that conversation as well, which is something I don't like.
That's the worst part about it. Messaging, it's just dumb. Messaging is, or like for some people I'll find my niche with them, like I can message them in a certain way and you convey, but most people like I'll message them, I'm like I just don't even want to have this conversation. So
well, it's not even a conversation.
But then you start it or you...
Pardon?
Do you start the conversation?
Well, it depends. Maybe yes, maybe no, but also just like, I don't know. Like it's just
a surface level.
I was talking about something with a mate the other day. I was like, let's actually just stop talking about this. And like, just do it in person. Like it's dumb.
Oh, right.
Because like if I'm trying to get a point across,
you're
gonna have an idea of what that point is, and then when I see you in person, the idea is completely off. So you've thought about my idea on this point, and then it's just pointless. Like,
what are you guys like thoughts on social media?
On social media, I think it's a tool. I think you can use it for good, you can use it for bad. overall, like, I mean, that's what we're doing. Like, we're trying to facilitate like an income and stuff through social media and build something through that. So I think it can be great, but it also can be bad. It's just like anything, really.
Yeah, it's very interesting because obviously it's in its infancy. Obviously, like, maybe you could probably argue it's just been like 10 years that we've really had it at a strong level of what it is now.
Yeah, like I've had social media since probably like year 3 or year.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've had Facebook since year 3.
Yeah.
Farmville.
Oh yeah, and like
so,
YouTube.
Yeah. So like, just the fact that it's in its infancy means that obviously we don't know a whole lot about it. But I think, like, to speak to what Josh said, now more than ever, it's like I'm starting to understand that it really should be used as a tool.
Yeah.
Like, as a tool or just to share, like, important moments.
I feel like I've met like a fair few people from social media.
I think it has a lot more net good.
Yeah.
I think it has net benefits.
Oh, for
As in,
sure.
like, its benefits way outweigh its negativities.
Yeah.
Because,
Most
again,
cases.
like anything, we can just learn to control it over time, and it speaks to its infancy. It's so young that whatever problems arise, we haven't learned to deal with them yet.
Yeah, well, there's no substitute for our ability to connect with somebody on the other side of the world in an instant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, writing a letter takes months and months and months. Like, it's just such a slow exchange. We can literally have these conversations. Like, we were on video with Seb, a guy in South Africa, all of 2 days ago. Had a beautiful conversation with him.
Yeah.
Without the world of social media and
Yeah.
the internet, like, that's just non-existent.
I was listening to Zark on Rogan, and he was talking about how, like what they're trying to develop in terms of like holographic stuff, and he was speaking on the difference between like a video chat, and he was actually diminishing them because he was saying like there's no eye contact.
Saying that.
There's no eye contact, which makes sense. Like I agree.
So you're looking at the
camera.
camera.
It's like you're not even actually.
Yeah.
It sounds it's so good, like to what you were saying, but there can be better, and like there'll be a time where like we can do this without actually being here, and it feels like we're here.
But
That's the thing, though. Like, my only like question to that is, can you ever like mimic actually being there
Which
to
he
the
said-
full
extent.
Which he said no.
Yeah.
But he said we can make
it's
the
like
video thing better. Like, as in, like, the video, instead of
video
video
can get
chat,
better.
like, that style of, like, the second best form of communication can be really close. It's obviously never going to be the same, which I think is great that they consider that. You know what I mean? The stuff they develop is, like, it's never going to be, they're not trying to replicate that, but they're just trying to make it as best as possible. But yeah, like, using it as a tool, and then, like, I didn't have social media most social medias for ages, like, in, like, teen
Yeah, a lot of
years.
people are like that.
Yeah, like I didn't have Instagram for long, and then Facebook I was never really on, and then Snapchat didn't have it.
Snapchat was a joke.
Yeah, it's silly, such a waste of time.
Do you guys use TikTok?
No, I only use it to post.
Oh, to post. Yeah, but we.
But I don't
have
consume
it.
TikTok.
Yeah. And now I have it because of like this stuff, and like I need to be on it just 'cause
Yeah.
it's like literally a business thing.
The justification.
I had a TikTok go viral. Like,
Really?
I used it for like 2 weeks and posted a few videos on there. And then, do you know Josh King?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah.
I made like a didgeridoo, and randomly we took it to his house one day and like sat on one of those vibrating machines that like all those like videos of like Chinese
Yeah.
fat kids losing weight and stuff.
Yeah,
They all
yeah,
use
yeah.
them. Yeah, he sat on that and like played the didgeridoo and was like vibrating, and it got like over 2 million views.
Holy
Yeah,
shit!
and, like I got all these companies contacting me to license it, and like
No way.
Snapchat started posting it. Like, you know those,
Yeah.
if you use Snapchat, but like
No, I
they
don't,
post
but-
weird
Yeah, it just
content,
shows-
like
yeah.
the ads. Yeah, they got posted on there, and like
It's so.
yeah, it's so
whack.
crazy.
Yeah, it is a crazy thing, and like I think
The
everyone
reach you
just
have on
needs to
there.
be. You just need to be a part of it and just use it for what you can, because it's just
Yeah.
gonna get so much bigger.
No, I found that
Especially-
like I wasn't getting anything positive from it, so I deleted it.
Yeah,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
that's 100%, and like you can always come back to it, so it's fine. It's like, and that was what I was saying before. Is like I didn't have it, now I have it. I really do start to realize the addictive nature of it.
Yeah, like
because
do
I
you
didn't
find
have
yourself
it.
scrolling through it?
100%.
Yeah,
And I'm like, what
It's
am I
so
doing?
easy.
I didn't even do this for so long.
yeah.
Like, and now I have it, and I'm instantly addicted. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But like I find when you delete it, you just forget it. Like I do
that's
not
the
crave
Dude,
it at all.
you don't crave it
No.
once you don't have
Once
it.
it's gone, you realize that like life goes on and you actually don't miss it. Like, you'll say you go for a period of time without it and then you get it back. You're not like, oh my goodness, like I need to see everything that's happened in the past 6 months. You're like, oh, my life has been fine for the past 6 months.
Yeah, I've managed without it.
But it's just having it is, so addictive.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on social media though?
I think that it's been beneficial for me, I guess, but like obviously there is a lot of time wasted on it. Like especially for certain niches, like for example for surf photography or like the local surf community on the beaches, like I've met so many people through like my photography and stuff like that, and like started hanging out with them or shooting with them or like surfing with them, and like that wouldn't have been possible without social media probably. Yeah, like they'll message me and be like, oh, do you want to shoot today? And I'll be like I'll hang out with them or take photos and stuff.
Oh, it is the best thing, because think about the world without it. It's so hard to imagine that, but think about how you connect with people.
Like, yeah, the social circle will be way smaller.
It would be way smaller.
Yeah.
And like some maybe you would argue stronger because of that, because you're like, it's a smaller circle, therefore you like, that's all you know, you're going to put more into that. Whereas like we dilute it quite a bit with the amount of people we know, but like
I just think it's a
life
different
without
type
it,
of interaction.
life without it would just be so much
Yeah.
harder, I would say, because and part of what like we love to do is connect with people. That's what I love to do, and one of the easiest ways to do that is through social media. And it's quite easy as well to find people like that align with you through social media, I would say, in terms of, and maybe this doesn't apply to everyone, more people that are being vulnerable on social media and actually sharing the things that they want to share, not just like the standard like going out photos, etc. But like I can look at your Instagram page and be like, oh, Sam enjoys hiking, he likes nature, like loves surfing. He's probably going to be a guy that I get along with because I love all those things too. So in terms of like forming connections and finding people that really align with you, I think it's a great place when you can be vulnerable on it.
I find sometimes that like if you've like increased your social circle or like I don't know, the people you know through social media, almost makes you like sort of disconnect with like sort of like craving deeper connection almost. Like it makes you almost comfortable in not doing that, which is kind of
In shallow connections, you would say.
yeah, not like comfortable, but like, you know what I mean? Like not almost craving like a close group of friends.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like you can like, for example, like if your close friends like aren't available to hang out, or like if you have more people you could do stuff with, you almost like you feel better that way. Or
Yeah, I find I know who my close friends are, and I like seek deep connections with them. And I don't know, there's always times where I have other people I know and like friends, and maybe they're doing something, but I don't really feel the desire to go and do that sometimes. Even though it's there and the other option is staying at home by myself, quite often I'll choose staying at home by myself.
Yeah, same. I don't crave like a close friendship with like all those people.
No, 100%.
You may just want to keep it to you.
Exactly. It's just nice having like a shallow connection, and this might sound bad, but like a shallow connection with a lot of people.
Yeah,
And you have your
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, and it's beautiful because like, I don't know, you don't need to have this really deep connection, even though like you and I, we get along so well, we have very similar interests. We're not like close, we don't have this really deep connection, and that's fine. Like it's nice that we can just come together and have a really awesome conversation and then just go back to our separate lives. And like I'm sure as we do more things, like we'll go on a hike together, like that connection will naturally get stronger. But I'm not like, oh, just because we have the same interests, I need to be like have a strong deep connection with Sam. Like you don't.
It was like with Pat, like we like all the same things. Like I reckon he's such a legend, but like we just wouldn't see each other for so long. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, no, he was talking about that because it's like on paper we should be like best mates. But then his reasoning, he's like, I think it's because we're too alike that we neither of us have time and we don't seek that.
You don't seek someone who's exactly the same. You probably like, I feel like
not really seeking anyone, I guess. Like
So it's just like whatever. You just don't end up. It doesn't materialize like over time.
Do you guys both don't have girlfriends, or you do?
I don't. He does.
So is she like similar to you, or?
Well, like
so
what do you like?
What do you like
about
her?
Unique. Like we've been dating since we were like 14.
Wow.
Yeah. So like.
So you've never like been with anyone else?
No. So think about that and what that means to like. So you were talking about like deep connections and stuff. Like for me, it's like I have someone I've literally like. My second half is someone I've spent a third of my life with. Yeah. Like doesn't get much deeper than that. Do you know what I mean? Like
almost like a part of your family already.
Literally. Like it's the other half of you. It's insane. Like we're different but similar because we grew up together and like shaped each other's like way we do things, I guess. So similar in that way. Different in terms of like she's more like hands-on and like we'll just like really hard worker and does it because like she's happy someone telling her what to do. Yeah. Like so happy with that and do it to 110%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's just looking at me.
Oh, he loves it.
Do you know that guy?
Yeah, okay. No, I don't know him.
Okay.
Yeah. Just puts like a lot of effort into things and stuff.
Yeah, just like works really hard in terms of that. So, but for me, I'm more like I'll work really hard, but I am sort of like I want to do my own thing in my own
Like
lane.
more entrepreneur, and she's more.
Based. And
Like
she's
academically driven, sort of.
yeah,
or-
like me
yeah.
would be like more to myself and like creative, I guess, kind of
Yeah,
creative.
yeah.
She's more like head down, do it to 110%. Tell me exactly what to do, and I'll do it really, really
It's a
well.
good combo.
It is. So
Yeah.
this is what I was getting at. Is like it actually works really well because I take values from her in terms of that, and she takes stuff from me in terms of that. So it's really like yin yang. I do feel like you have to be yin yang in terms of like having
Yeah.
that deep. You do need to be different. Like relating back to the thing with Pat, it's like you have to have some point of difference because then, like it sounds really weird and like mathematical, but what's your return on your investment with that relationship? Do you know what I mean? Like it has to be like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's
I
meant to
guess the return on investment is like the mutual desire for both things you do, I guess.
correct. Yeah, and like you'll see them doing. Say you like similar
Yeah.
shit, but someone does it better.
Yeah.
That's your return on investment because you're like, well, they do it better, so I can learn from
I'm
them.
inspired now.
Yeah, like seeing you guys doing, like, starting that, like, Elvini thing, I was like, oh, that's so cool. I always wanted to do that. Like, yeah.
So it's like you see that and it's like great because I can get something out of it that's going to push me forward. So I feel like in terms of like having those deeper connections with people, and we did actually talk about this on a pod recently of like one of the like things that came out of it was like our circle growing smaller. So it's like just because you have a smaller circle,
Yeah.
but the connections you have with those people are really rich in
Yeah.
terms of like what they make you do and how they influence you. And it is really hard to see the influence people have on you when you're actually in it. So
Yeah.
say like Josh, for example, like I don't like consciously take Josh for granted, but there's I probably 60% of things that, no, way more, like 80% of things that I get from Josh, I don't even think about. Do you know what I mean? This is because
Like suckling like a leech.
Yeah. So, dude, like, think of like all the things you take from the people you're closest to. Like, you don't even consciously understand. So, if you didn't have them, like, what would you be like?
Yeah.
So, I definitely think we do need that. We do need that deeper connection. But it is a weird time now where, yes, we have those really deep connections, but we also have really shallow connections. And like, I don't really think that's been a thing before.
Yeah, no.
Like, I'm trying to think of what realm that was a thing. But it's never really.
No,
been.
because you didn't have any opportunity to meet people in a shallow way.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like maybe you could argue or like consider, I'm not sure what it was like back then, but through like the Industrial Revolution, working in factories, like being close with people, there would have been conversation, I'm sure, and because you're like focused on doing work, it probably wouldn't have been as deep. So, but then again, maybe you're seeing these people every day, so it does go a bit deeper, but I reckon it probably still would have been quite shallow, but just not to the scale that we have it today, where it's like, no, I can have like a shallow relationship with so many people.
Yeah, like in both you guys like other jobs, would you hang out with your colleagues like after work and stuff?
Definitely. Well, I worked at Macca's before this and like worked all the way up. So all my friends are all
Almost all the way up.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah, I always say that. So like all my friends and stuff are based through that.
Yeah, right.
And like we've all been on that journey together. So
Yeah.
we have that relationship there. So and that's like they're most of my friends, and that's through like struggle and hardship through like work.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
okay.
mean? So yeah, I would say that I would definitely hang out. Most of my friends are from like work. A lot of my closer friends.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm on the other side of that. Like I've only worked at Bunnings for 10 months now. And some of them, yes, like some of them are my friends and I would hang out with outside, but most of them are just work colleagues.
Yeah. It's the Bunnings dynamic's interesting. Like they seem to hang out with each other a lot.
Yeah, there is. I've been noticing that like a lot of their friends are Bunnings, and I don't know. I would like to know why that is in that workplace. Like, what is it about that? Maybe it's just because you have a lot of time with each other, and the job isn't that intensive in terms of like stress, and like you don't need to be here doing this and need to be there. Like you do have a lot of time to just kind of talk amongst yourselves. So maybe people do form those deeper connections. But yeah, I would say for me, like most of them are just work colleagues, which doesn't mean I don't like these people. Like they're nice people, but I'm not going to hang out with them on the weekends. I'd rather hang out with my closer circle of friends.
I found like something annoying about like when I worked at Bunnings back in the day, I was sort of like disconnected from that a bit because I was always working alone most of the time, and like I wouldn't have anyone to talk to and stuff. So the time would just go so long, and then like for example, they'd put me somewhere else one day and I'd be like chatting to someone and still doing the work, but like it'd be so much more enjoyable and the time would go so much faster. It's wild how long everything would take when you're just alone in your own department.
Yeah, and it's the case for everything. Like, just, I don't know, working by yourself goes so much slower for the most part. Whereas I think it's more just when you can fixate on what it is you're doing and like occupy your mind. Like being a mechanic, when I was because you're working by yourself, when I was so focused on the job I was doing and like really enjoying the job, the days would fly by. But there were jobs where it's just such a drag and I'm like, oh, I really can't be bothered to do this. And that's when time goes super slow. So it's more like how much energy and focus can you put and enjoyment into what it is you're doing. And I think it's like the flow state. Like when you're in that kind of mindset, that's when time just goes by so fast.
Sure.
Like when you're not thinking about time is moving fast.
Yeah.
But when you're watching the clock,
Definitely.
it's the worst.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Dude, one other thing I was, you know how you were saying you've been in a relationship for like, like 8 years or whatever? I think I saw this post on Reddit and it was like, someone asked a question like, people, if you've been in a relationship for like ages and then you broke up because you thought like you could get something better or you're missing out on something, and like everyone said they regretted it.
Regretted breaking up or staying in?
Like people were craving something else, or like the thought of not knowing what you're missing out on having had one partner, and they all regretted it. Like they went and had one night stands, they slept with a lot of people, or they just could never meet someone like that again.
Yeah.
It's just empty.
Yeah. Like for me, like with my relationship, it's literally like the best thing I have.
Yeah, like have you ever found yourself questioning that? Or?
Never.
Yeah.
Like I think we
awesome.
just developed like communication very early on, and again, like it can go one or two ways when you're growing up, because you're growing up together. It can go really south or like really well, because if you can just make it through like the fire, like you can definitely be forged in it, you know, and you can end up drawing on those experiences. But I think what tends to like definitely keep us afloat and what wouldn't is like our individual lives.
So just because they're not too involved, or
our dependency, we're very like, it's interesting, like we're dependent on each other heavily, but we're also both very independent. Does that make sense? So she's doing a lot of stuff with her life by herself. Well, not a lot of stuff, but she's putting a lot of effort into.
What does she like do? What's
so
her
she
goals?
like, you know, like the Beacon Hill Macca's.
Yeah.
She runs that Macca's.
Oh really?
So like that's a
Yeah, right.
lot of work. It's a 24-hour store. Like she's on call literally 24/7. Like
Okay.
like on her days off, she's basically working. Like, dude, she's a savage. And it
So
doesn't
is
even
she like a franchisee almost?
Oh no,
or?
no, she doesn't own it.
Yeah,
no,
okay.
no.
Just the manager.
She's
or...
the like restaurant manager.
Oh
there.
yeah, okay.
But you basically like you're doing everything. You know what I mean? And now the licensee, he's very like separated from it all.
Yeah.
You're literally running it, like making all the calls.
Yeah.
So it's very
That's
intensive.
stressful.
You're responsible for at least 120 people.
Yeah.
Very, very stressful. And she's really good at it.
Yeah.
So that takes up so much of her time. And that's what's so good is our relationship is predicated on we're both doing our own thing and we support each other's own things. And that's what the relationship is. I think for people who question it like that, I think that it's when it gets to a point where you're actually just like, you're living to be with that other person. And that's, well, no, that's the wrong way to put it. Because like,
No, it's just, you don't have the right foundations.
Yeah,
like you're seeking fulfillment, satisfaction, everything through them, and people are never going to give you that because we're all terrible. Like we all fail, we all fall short every day. So when you're trying to get that through another person, it's just not going to work out.
That's
and that's
insane.
when people are like, oh, maybe there's someone better. It's like, well, no, like maybe there is someone more suited to you, yes, but like there's not what you're thinking. You're thinking of like a perfect person that's never going to let you down. That's
ever gonna be
It
perfect.
could almost beg the question, like maybe that person isn't right for them if they're even questioning it, or maybe it's in their head.
It's just it's more what the way I see it is what they're thinking of, like they should get out of a relationship is wrong.
So
What they
want. And yeah, it does definitely. I think the biggest thing is like you need to. I can confidently say like if you're not like individually doing your own thing and like have your own individual like goals or driven individually, your relationship will just fall apart because the more dependent you are on each other for like fulfillment, etc. It's just gonna fall apart because another person cannot give you that. They need to spend their own time doing things. So like we're good at doing our own things, but then like we are with each other all the time, and it seems like that you're dependent on each other, but we're not because we're both doing our own shit. Do you know what I mean? Like I have this, I have work, Like I have all of that, but then I also have her, and it's just like that takes up a lot of my time, but in a good way. It's like we're helping each other through problems.
Yeah.
And not like out of love, like not just comforting each other, like actually pushing each other to do more stuff. Yeah, I guess that's what it would be. It's just like pushing each other to be less comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And like knowing what that person wants.
What's the story behind that scar?
Have I told you?
No, I don't.
Dude, it looks like you've had a thumb attached.
Yeah, I basically did.
Damn.
No, I was working on my bloody godforsaken car, that camper project I was building, and then I got to the point where I was that's like the most stressed out I've ever been in my life. Like, we had a landslide at my house from the floods.
And then,
This house?
Not my house in Narrabeen. And then my dad was like, okay, you need to get this camper out of the garage because the excavator is going to be coming through here and removing all the dirt, like a few truckloads of dirt. So I had like a period of a week where I like had to get this on my car. So it just basically was like a boot up the arse. And I was working so quick, like I got it on my car, and then I was trimming like the sign panels down. There was like a little bit of the panel that was sticking out a bit, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll just use a Stanley knife because it's pretty soft material. And then I don't know what I was doing. I think my hand was resting on the side and it slipped, and just my thumb just like was like that.
Holy.
Yeah, like it wouldn't have fallen off or anything, like because it was only from here to there, but it was like all loose, and I was so pissed off. Like I wasn't
So
in
you weren't
pain.
even like in pain. You were just like, you idiot.
Yeah, I was so angry at myself, and then my dad's reaction like compounded that because he was mad at me. He's like, I don't have time for this shit.
Yeah.
Because he was so stressed out as well.
Yeah, the landslide,
it was a landslide
clearly,
house.
and then you've just cut your thumb. So
Yeah, like it was just the cherry on top. And then I had to go to hospital. I couldn't get the car done. So then he had to go and tarp up the back. So it just made things worse for him too. And now I have no feeling.
Really?
No.
At all?
No feeling.
Did they say that?
They said you might get feeling back, but the period of time it's been, it should have.
Where do you have no feeling?
So I have feeling on this side, and then that feels weird.
Inside of your
all along here to here, there's nothing.
Wow.
Or like,
Dude, I can notice
it's
you're
like
not even touching it because it must feel like a whack.
there's like some nerve sensation, like spasms. Like even sometimes down here, it gets weird.
That's nuts.
So I found myself like lifting weights now. My grip on this hand has to be different.
Really?
Do you
Yeah.
reckon it's like worse?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, like it would be terrible.
My grip strength is like probably way worse on this hand now.
Damn.
So shit.
That is so
Just
interesting.
from being an
Yeah.
idiot.
Just for me. And then I went to a hand doctor, the guy who did the surgery on me, and he was like, I think it was almost $200 a session. And I got to the point where I'm like, I'm just going to let this, just be like,
Leave it as
whatever happens, happens.
Yeah.
He was trying to get rid of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, but
right.
that's like that doesn't do
cosmetic.
anything for the feeling. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
it's just like annoying when you stretch your hand,
You feel it.
you feel it, but I don't care.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's not worth $200
No,
a session.
not at all.
No,
For
not
how
at
many
all.
sessions? Like, how
Like,
does the compound to like a
Oh,
whole bunch of
probably
sessions?
ages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And it was 10 minutes. Just baffling how much money he'd make.
It's
Yeah.
wild.
But like, he did the surgery on my hand, so like, at least he knows what he's doing.
Talking about
Yeah.
it.
Damn. That's nuts.
So that camper build,
Yeah.
is that still a stress in the back of your mind?
Like
Oh, yeah. That's like, I honestly regret it.
Damn.
just to give context to what you're doing.
Yeah.
So you have a ute and you built a frame for the back of the tray.
Yeah, so basically, like, for the past 5 years, I'd always wanted to just, like, build a van or build, like, a car I can go camping and off-roading. And, like, I always wanted to do it myself.
Yeah.
And I sort of probably underestimated how hard it was. Like, how much money you had to spend. Like, I already bought a car brand new, which I, like, never even wanted to do, but I kind of got, like, just convinced to do it.
Mm.
And then I luckily didn't get a loan. I just had saved and stuff. And then when I started building that camper, like, I probably didn't go like the right route with it. Like, I didn't weld the frame up. I sort of bolted it all together, and like, it was taking so much time. Like, it was so expensive. And then like, there was like a thought in the back of my head, like, if I'm not like gonna make money out of this, or I don't know, if it's not gonna better me in any way except for really learning how to build something better, like, why am I spending so much time on it?
Mm.
Like, it should have just been a sort of afterthought, like, just so I could go have fun with it.
Yeah.
But I sort of devoted so much time to it.
It just became burdensome.
It became burdensome, and it still is now, because like, I have so many things I want to do, but like, that car's in the back of my head. Like, my mates ask, do you want to go camping? I'll be like, oh, I can't even use my car because it's just a tarp on the back, it's not insulated.
Yeah.
There's just so much more money.
And money and time, dude. Honestly, the best thing I could ever tell you is sell it.
I want to sell it, and then so many people tell me don't, and then people tell me sell it.
Dude, think of the real. Okay.
I need a car. Like, I need a car.
Yeah, but like you can get a car. Think of it this way: you have a house, and in that house, in one of the bedrooms, is like this. Someone's living in your bedroom, just rent free. They're living there, and they're staying there, just making a mess in your room in your house.
I'm paying them to live there.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, you have the ability to tell them to leave, and once they leave, like every time you walk past that room, you just see more and more mess, and it gets so much more annoying, and like it frustrates you. It occupies so much time in your mind.
Another thing that almost makes it worse is like, because it's new and like parking at the beach all day to go to uni, I feel like it's just degrading. Like the paint's already messed up, like it's probably going to rust being at the beach all day. Like it makes you just want something crap.
Dude, it'll be so liberating when you sell it, because you sell it, then that person moves out of your room, and then the room's free, you clean it up, and you're good to go. Again,
I have no physical attachment to it. Like, I love the car, like it's so nice to drive, but
dude, sell it, trust me.
Just get rid of it, right?
It will literally be the best thing.
But the thing is, I wouldn't go the route that you've gone, because I know I'll still want something to use for camping.
Yeah.
Then get a car that you can
Something
use for camping.
Yeah.
I just have to sacrifice
you can
like not
easily-
going on heaps of off-road.
You can easily get like a shitty car that you use for camping.
But like, what would you say about the argument? Like, my dad was saying like, oh, you'll get like a shitbox and then you have to spend all this money on it.
But you won't, could get a good shitbox. Like my car cost me $900. I did 2 wheel bearings when I first got it. I've done front brakes and rear brakes since, and then oil and filter.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
So I've spent no money on my car. Like my car has been perfect.
Yeah, and then I can spend that money on like just business endeavors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And you just have like, it's not only that, it's more the mental liberation that it gives you.
Dude,
Like
you
the
gotta
fact it's
rent-
in the back of your mind right now.
Oh, it's always in the back of my head.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah.
And it would just disappear if you got rid of it.
You'd
And like
feel so
maybe
much
there's
relief.
some like regret in the fact that you sold it, but
No, there would be none, trust me.
Oh,
I
shit.
I know
Yeah,
the
there you go.
exact mental state you're in, and it will just set you free.
Yeah, I honestly don't think I would regret it. I'd regret doing the whole thing.
that's what I'm saying. You'll regret that, but it's the only. That's what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. Is like it's just that small bit of regret for doing it. In the
My
first
challenge
place,
for you is freaking put your car up for sale this week.
but- Wow.
Really?
Dude, like,
All right. Fuck it.
It will honestly be the best
Fucking
thing you
I'm
do. It will literally be the best thing you do.
Another annoying thing is like, so I sort of built it to go around Australia, and then like I spent all that money on it, and I didn't have like sort of enough money to finish it or whatnot. And then seeing all these people go overseas, and I was like, oh, I could have used that like money to have like those experiences, or I can't do either now.
Yeah.
So I got myself into this position where
Yeah.
I can't really have a long overseas trip, and I
Yeah.
can't do it around here. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
But
it's just
don't
messing
sit in
up,
that
yeah.
regret. Like, don't feel sorry for yourself, because it's the
Action
reality.
It, action it. There's
Like,
a way you can action
You
it.
sell it, you get money, and then you buy a cheaper car, and then you have money in the pocket. You could
Yeah.
go overseas with that, or
My predicament is like, I will probably need something before I buy a car. I guess I could just borrow my dad's car for like a week or find a way.
yeah, no, you would make it work, man. There's so many cars for sale.
Like there's this Holden Astra.
Oh,
In
do
Warwick
not
with-
buy his car.
I want to get it. For some reason, I want a Tarago, like the old
Yeah,
egg-looking
yeah.
Taragos.
And they're good cars.
It's so appealing to me.
Get one.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
I would
why
still
not?
fit the back out, but like it'd be a budget.
Yeah, budget
Yeah.
build, just timber.
Yeah.
You could get a cheap one for sure.
Sorted.
Yeah.
There
Done.
you go. You're done.
Alright, sell the Mazda, get a Tarago.
This week.
yeah.
Right.
Or at least put it up for sale this week.
Yeah, I will.
Challenge.
Good. I love that. Sick, man. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to touch on?
We had a good convo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it
that was
is.
sick. That was
Yeah.
so much
Dude,
fun.
thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for
Keen
having
to
me.
see you put the car up for sale.
I'm gonna do it.
Don't take any advice from me. It took you so long to put mine up.
Yeah,
But,
I was
uh,
telling-
Yeah, I don't know what price to put it up as.
Suss the market.
Yeah,
Go from
and
there.
just go higher than you think.
yeah, because like the money you put in isn't gonna reflect
Nah.
the price.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
nah.
for sure. Especially like
Small
being an
sacrifice.
incomplete build.
Yeah,
But you're gonna have to sacrifice somewhere. You know that, right?
yeah, I don't care about losing the money I spent
Yeah.
on the camper.
Yeah. Don't succumb
Well,
to
you
the...
do because you haven't sold it yet.
No, that's not why I've sold it.
Really? Well,
The reason I've sold it is because I'm like, should I finish it or should I just give up?
Just
It's like
call it
someone who
quits.
doesn't like their uni degree.
Yeah,
2 years in, it's like, oh, I might as well write it out. No,
Some
leave.
cost fallacy.
yeah,
Don't
yeah,
succumb to
Yeah.
it.
that's true.
Yeah. All right, dude.
Break free.
Cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you so
thanks
much.
heaps, Sam. It was sick. We'll tip a hike soon.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Keen as.
100%.
Yeah.
Peace. 2G1C.
Another episode. Love you all.
Peace.
Bye.